So you thought the Mets had put their Turner Field blues in the past. Well, it was the same old script last night as the Braves walloped the Mets in the opener of their series. So Willie Randolph has decided to change the script tonight, and those two guys will be in different spots in the batting order. Carlos Delgado dropped down to the lowest he's been in the batting order in 10 years, and David Wright assuming the cleanup spot tonight in Atlanta. At Turner Field in Atlanta, on the Kia Wednesday game of the week, the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Turner Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight. As the Mets try and get even with the Braves in the series, they still lead in the National League East by a game and a half. But there's enough concern about the struggles early on this season with the Mets cleanup hitter Carlos Delgado that Willie Randolph has decided to make a move with him.
Well, you got a tough left-hander in Chuck James. Now, Delgado's hitting over 300 against the left-handers, but without power. He's got no home runs. Only 3 home runs on the year, hitting 209 coming into this game. So it's a good move, I think, to move him down, take a little of the pressure off. David Wright, who's been swinging the bad goods in the cleanup spot. Sean Green's the surprise hitting in the 2-hole.
The 8th different number 2 hitter the Mets have had this year. The Mets will go with Oliver Perez tonight, and Perez has been brilliant. Pitched well against the Yankees his last time out, and has pitched particularly well this year against Atlanta.
Well, he's been great ever since he came over to the Mets against Atlanta, and he's been great in his last couple of starts against the Yankees. 7 2/3 are just fantastic baseball, throwing strikes. That slider for a strike. He really is throwing 2 different kinds of breaking ball, and I think when he came over from the Pirates, you knew that he still had the good stuff. He just had lost his confidence. Rick Peterson, Willie Randolph, and the rest of the Met team has instilled that confidence again, and he's throwing as good as he's ever thrown.
It'll be Oliver Perez for the Mets and another young left-hander, Chuck James, going for the Braves. Mets beat him up pretty badly when they faced him in Chase Stadium earlier this year. The Mets and Braves from Turner Field, all the action coming up. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Ford. Visit your Tri-State Ford dealer today. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Hummer, visit hummer.com to check out the H3 Hummer like nothing else. By IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? And by Kia, the presenting sponsor of the Kia Wednesday game of the week. Oliver Perez getting set to make the start against Atlanta tonight. His 3rd start against the Braves this year, and he's been terrific in the first 2. In fact, has the only 2 Met wins in 7 tries against the Braves. Turner Field readying for action. First pitch coming up on SNY. Set to go. Jose Reyes leads off against Chuck James. First pitch in the air to left center field, and Matt Diaz is there. 1 pitch and 1 out here in Atlanta.
Boy, just in the nick of time for that first pitch.
Hey, we just live dangerously as we check out the Geico Mets starting lineup. Carlos Delgado dropped down to 6th in the order for the first time in 10 years. Sean Green hitting 2nd for the first time since 2004. So a very different look to the Mets batting order tonight. Carlos Gomez getting his 5th start. And here's Green, who last hit 2nd as a Dodger 3 years ago, and he takes ball 1.
Oh, I talked to Sean. Sorry, Ron, it's your turn.
No, well, Chuck James. You know, it's funny about Chuck James. Which Chuck James will show up? He arguably had his worst outing of his career earlier this season against the Mets. 10 hits and 6 runs with 3 home runs. But last year, he went 8 innings and only gave up a hit to David Wright with a 1-hitter through 8 innings. So interesting to see which Chuck James shows up.
Green hitting at .316, 10th in the National League, and James falls behind him, 3-0.
Sean said that he hit 2nd in '99 at Toronto, that great lineup that they had, and he hits 2nd the majority of the year. So it's not a new spot for him.
And Green draws a 4-pitch walk, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner.
In our Rico Atlanta Brave defense, Chris Woodward, the former Met, gets the start at first base. Martin Prado just called up, gets the start at 2nd, supposed to be a good fielder. Renteria, Chipper Jones, Salta Lamacchia. I did it right. Good. He's a young guy. He says he can really throw. Diaz, Andrew Jones, and Francoeur in the outfield.
So here's Beltran, still hitting over 400 as a right-hand batter, but he pops up the first pitch he sees, and Andrew Jones is there. And there are 2 down. So 2 first-pitch fly balls bracketing a 4-pitch walk.
Well, what they're doing against Chuck James, he's known for his changeup. They're trying to get to him before he throws that changeup, that first pitch heater. They're trying to get to it.
So 2 away, and here's David Wright.
You know, it's a little unusual because Beltran's been very patient of late, taking a lot of pitches.
David is hitting cleanup for the 3rd time this season. Went 0 for 4 last night after his big weekend against the Yankees. And Wright, who in his first couple of years had a lot of hits and a lot of home runs against the Braves, 4 for 29 against Atlanta this year. Mets cleanup hitters as a whole are hitting under 200.
Ooh.
Most of that, of course, is Delgado. And it's not the worst in the National League, which is amazing. But the Cardinals have had such problems in the middle of their batting order with Rolen and Edmonds.
Well, it shows you how valuable Green has been, Alou has been in the lineup. So the Mets are scoring runs, and how valuable their pitching has been, both the bullpen and starters.
So Duca hitting 5th tonight on deck, and now James behind on Wright, 2-0. David with 7 home runs, hit 2 of them Saturday and another one Sunday. James comes with a fastball, and Wright pops it up. Second baseman Prado calls off Woodward, and that ends the inning. So James, who along with Oliver Perez tends to get a lot of fly ball outs, starts in fashion as Perez takes the mound for the Mets. Here's the forward Braves lineup. A little different look with the left-hander going tonight. Martin Prado gets just his 2nd start. Edgar Renteria is rolling this year, particularly against lefties. Former Met Chris Woodward getting his 1st start of the year at first base. Jared Saltalamacchia, you have to make the type very small to fit his name in there. Guy who set a big league record his first day in the major leagues. The longest last name in major league history.
They're going to make Mr. Perez take off the pearl necklace.
Barrett is in there. The umpire, home plate umpire, going to make Perez take that off, and that's something that was always common, that you would have that necklace taken off. Sosa was allowed to last night.
I think it's a matter of whether it's shiny or not.
Yeah.
Is it the same one, or is it?
It looked like the same one. Maybe they had a 2-for-1 sale for Sosa and Perez.
This one looked like it had a little more gleam to it. So Perez gets stripped.
It's a fashion show.
And here's Martin Prado. Prado just called up on Sunday from Richmond where he was hitting .301. Young Venezuelan takes the fastball inside for ball 1.
Well, he's supposed to have a terrific glove, and of course he's getting his shot here, and the big question is, will he hit?
Tell you what, the way Kelly Johnson has been going, I would be reluctant to sit him against anybody right now.
And Kelly Johnson's been hitting lefties too, and he's walking a lot, and it's what they wanted. That's why they gave him the shot this year. They wanted someone to get on base. Look at his on base percentage. That's terrific.
I think a great judge of talent by Bobby Cox and his staff to not only know that he could lead off for the team, but also to play second base the way he's played it, coming in from the outfield. Although I think he started as a shortstop early in his career.
He was a shortstop, but remember he also had Tommy John surgery last year. David Wright under the pop-up from Prado, and there's one away. So 1 out and nobody on.
Well, we're going to give you a little different Metsy Lexus defense here. Delgado at first, easily at second. Reyes right. Duca. Gomez gets a start tonight, Carlos. And Carlos Beltran in center, and Sean Green in right.
A 3 Carlos night for the Mets.
Once again, each day they break a record.
Anybody else they could call up and add to that mix? Maybe they could play 9 Carloses. Renteria fouls it back.
Well, Brian Snitker, who's usually the third base coach, is not in that box. Hubbard at third base. There's Glenn Hubbard. And Terry Pendleton at first base.
Pendleton normally in the dugout, the hitting coach for the Braves. 0-2 to Renteria.
Well, this won't require the wideout. They're just coaches.
What are you doing?
I'm just scratching out their names.
Oh, you know.
No respect.
We expect you to be so neat.
players of your generation. It's just
True.
scratching them out.
Roger McDowell wishes he could have scratched Terry Pendleton.
That's right.
You had to bring that up.
Unfortunately, every time I think of Pendleton, that's what I think of.
That's that long game we had against the Cardinals. They came in. Remember, they had that long losing streak. What year are we talking about?
87.
87. And they came in at that long losing streak. We won the first 2 games, correct? Or the first night? They beat us the second night.
Pendleton hit one over the center field fence against Roger, who didn't give up many home runs. Renteria with the opposite field hit. And the Braves have their first base runner, Renteria, who just has been racking up base hit after base hit. That's 59 hits for Renteria this year.
Well, it's a breaking ball that stays. No, it's a fastball. Excuse me. Outer half of the plate, belt high. Renteria is such a good high ball hitter, belt and up. You've got to keep the ball down on him, and he goes the other way so naturally.
So here's Chipper, and you see the 12 home runs. He's hit half of those as a right-hand batter, which is unusual for Chipper. Generally, the vast majority of his home runs come left-handed, and that breaking ball misses well outside.
And tonight he has the black bat, which he uses when he hits from the right side of the plate. Last night, of course, when he hit left-handed, he has the regular white ash. It's a lighter bat from the right side.
Hit hard down the line. Over to cut it off is Gomez, and that'll keep Renteria from advancing past second. So back-to-back base hits for Renteria and Chipper Jones.
That's an inside corner fastball, Ron. He just got the head out there.
Yeah, the Duca, though, sitting on the outside part, wanted that away from Jones. Chipper, when he's ahead in the count, he will look in that fastball. He's one of the more intelligent hitters you'll see.
So Oliver Perez trying to keep the Braves off the board here, and it's worth noting some history. You know how poorly the Mets have played here at Turner Field, 27 and 57 in the regular season all time. But when the Braves have scored first against the Mets in this ballpark, the Mets are 6 and 37.
That's stunning.
Frank Kerr lifts one, shallow left, a long run for Gomez, but he'll get there easily. And there are 2 out. And let me take that a step further, because the first 3 times the Mets played here and the Braves scored first, they won. So since then, they are 3 and 37 in games at Turner Field when the Braves score first. I mean, that's mind-boggling.
Yes.
But it also gives you an idea of, maybe not right now, but certainly over the years, how this ballpark and this team have gotten in the Mets' heads, that when they've fallen behind, it's been almost impossible for them to win.
And that's a 140 winning percentage at 6 and 37, Gary. And if you
Matt Diaz swings over the slider.
If you put that out over a 162 game schedule, it's a 23 and 139 season. It would break the old 62 Metsies record.
It's not good. So, not to say that the Mets can't win if the Braves score here, but the history would show that they haven't done well in those spots. And now Perez trying to avoid that, gets ahead on Diaz, 0-2.
2 great pitches from Perez. First pitch slider that Diaz swung through. Remember, Diaz is in the top 10 of least pitches faced when he bats. Perfect on the outside corner. Only facing about 3 1/4 pitches every time he's at the plate. He loves to hit that first pitch.
Diaz is hitting .352, but he's only walked 3 times. Hit to second base, and Perez able to work around a couple of base hits and get through the first inning unscathed. No score as we go to the second.
Yes.
This year, when you can't be home to watch your Mets on SNY or CW11, check out MLB.TV. Watch every out-of-market Mets game of the season live. Catch those you missed on demand or listen to every radio broadcast. Sign up today. Visit Mets.com, where baseball is always on. Let's check out our Jeep Around the Majors for today. Dominant performance by Johan Santana last night, and the Twins win over Texas. Ken Griffey Jr. now with 574 home runs, passing Harmon Killebrew for 8th place. And the phenom for the Giants, Tim Lincecum, hooked up with Roy Oswalt last night and pitched a gem. Lincecum now 2-0. Paul Duca leads off the second for New York, and he takes high from Chuck James.
Griffey Jr. needs 10 more to catch McGuire.
If he hadn't gotten hurt, how many home runs would he have right now?
I mean, what, 100 more?
at least. I mean,
Right?
really,
Yeah,
you're talking about 4 or 5 years now
Yes.
that have been severely limited by injury.
Wow.
Well, there's the Mets' number 6 hitter tonight, Carlos Delgado, on deck. 2-1 to Duca. Ever since being dropped out of the 2-hole on the 1st of May, Duca has been scorching. He's hitting .397 since then. And hits it in the air to left field. Hit pretty well, but Diaz is there. And that's the first out. Well, Keith and Ron and I were all devastated to learn of the passing the other day of Mike Farco, who worked at Shea Stadium for 24 years, a very familiar figure to everybody on the press level at Shea. Just a delightful guy who we've known for years, and I don't know about you guys, but I was stunned to hear of his death.
He was just one of the sweetest, gentle person you'll ever be around. I remember he gave me my locker in the food room there, and he gave me a key. He kept the key for himself. So even when I had a key, I would always make it, hey, Mike, I forgot my key again today. Can you help me out? And he just loved that little tete-a-tete we would have every single day, where he would get on me for being so dumb and not bringing my key. But just a great guy. And that room that is locked now, that we never can get in, is going to be forever known as the Mike Farco room to me.
And he was ready to next month to celebrate his 50th anniversary with his lovely wife. And geez, I'm just speechless. And
Delgado hits one hard that eats up Chipper Jones, and he's got himself what presumably will be a base hit, and it will. You know, 1 for 1 in that 6-hole.
You know, Keith, for us, as this ball eludes Chipper Jones, for us, it's very strange, because when we played, we never got to meet a lot of these wonderful people.
Right.
Because you're insular in your own little world in the dugout and out in the field. And ever since you've done it for so long now, but this is my 2nd year, to seeing all these wonderful people that work for the Mets in the food rooms, the security personnel that help us out all the time, everyone in the different parts of the stadium. It's just it's been a pleasure and a joy for me. Well,
Mike Farco is a guy who the fans wouldn't know, but everybody who's connected with the media saw him every day, and he was a delightful guy. Couldn't have been more helpful in all the years that we knew him, and all our best to his family. Funeral services will be tomorrow morning at 9:15 at St. Stanislaus Church, and I believe the wake continues till 9 o'clock tonight at the Papavero Funeral Home in Maspeth, if you want to stop by. 0-2 to Damian Easley, hitting a .269 on the year. Had a home run against James at Shea back in April. In fact, that was Easley's first home run. He had barely played to that point. That was on the 21st of April, and he's tied for the team lead in home runs since then with David Wright. They each have 7 since that date.
Ron, you make a good point. Chuck James reminds you of?
He has a very similar motion to John Franco. Now,
Yes.
They aren't the same kind of pitcher, but if you watch him, most pitchers get a little bend in their back and they extend through the motion. He stands almost straight up and down and kind of flips it up there.
Fouled away.
You know, Chuck James, for you Met fans who don't know that much about him, you know, he went into the rotation on June 25th last year for the Braves. And in the National League, there are only one pitcher won more games after that date. And that was John Smoltz, his teammate, with 12. He won 11 from that date on.
The shallow center, and Andrew confused by it for a moment, but makes the catch. I don't know if he had trouble with the twilight or the lights, but it was a strange hesitation by Andrew.
Well, it looked like he got his bearings here. You can watch him at the top of your screen. Watch him kind of stutter step here as he comes in very aggressively. Then it kind of, am I all right here? But he makes the adjustment. And that's why they don't give the gold away for nothing.
So 2 away. Delgado's still at first. And here's Carlos Gomez making his 5th start. 5 for 15 as a big leaguer, and he grounds one to Renteria. They'll get the force at second to end the inning. So Delgado gets the Mets' first hit, but the Mets leave one, still no score. Weekday mornings before you head out the door, check out the CW11's Commuter Cast. From traffic tie-ups to train delays, get up to the minute time-saving traffic reports with Commuter Cast all morning long on the CW11 Morning News. Aflac! Time for the Aflac trivia question for tonight before Kyle Davies, who was the last Braves pitcher to hit a home run against the Mets. Now, come on, it couldn't have been 22 years.
God, I'm trembling. I'm trembling here.
Well, you got him out.
I not only Derek Lilliquist not only hit 2 home runs off me in one game. Steve Avery had a 4-hit game against me in one game.
Right, I remember that. That was at Shea.
That's what I get for striking out Rick Camp at 4:30 in the morning.
There's Andrew Jones. See, Camp was the first guy I thought of, but I forgot about Lilliquist. Your personal nemesis.
You know, they were talking about Kyle Davies hitting that home run. Well, he's in part of the question there. Do you know when he was 12 years old, he and Jeff Francoeur used to play on a traveling team. Jeff Francoeur hit 3rd. Kyle Davies hit 4th. And Francoeur said that at the time, Kyle Davies was the best 12-year-old player he'd ever seen.
And inside, did he go? No, it hit him in the foot. The question was whether he swung at it. And the first base umpire, Mark Carlson, says no, and so Andrew goes to first base.
Put him on the back foot, just a slider that gets away from Perez. You know, if you're going to throw that slider, you're going to miss in. Don't miss out over the middle. And we said, Ronnie, that Perez really has to be careful against the right-handers. He can get hurt against right-handers. He's given up 5 home runs against right-handers, only 1 against left-handers.
So here is Jared Saltalamacchia making his 7th start since being called up. Just 22 years old, a switch hitter. Got called up and played his first game against the Phillies on his birthday and had a big game. Braves were in need of catching because the backup Brian Pena suffered a concussion, and then Brian McCann was banged up, and so they called up Saltalamacchia, who has been their #1 prospect, considered that for the last couple of years. Weakly on the ground, easily right at the bag, gets the force and turns 2. So 2 out and nobody on. 4-4-3 on the double play.
Well, I know Andrew can't. Andrew's thinking he's going to get tagged. But for all you kids out there, you can't stop. You got to go and knock the guy down, the second baseman down, if he's going to tag you. And if he goes to the bag, then you slide. I know it's kind of a decision you got to make there. It's kind of a tough play.
Here's Chris Woodward, the former Met, and he takes inside. So you're saying Andrew Jones is no A-Rod.
That's right.
Did you see that last night?
A-Rod with the shoulder and elbow against Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman for the Red Sox.
I love the quote from Pedroia after the game. He said, "Next time my arm slot drops to the floor." And that's your best defense, right? Against a guy who you think has not slid appropriately.
Except you better knock him out, because Pedroia is about 155 pounds soaking wet. A-Rod's 240. You better knock him out if you're going to drop that arm slot.
Well, you know, that's what the game's become. It's become a country club, a gentleman's game. And, you know, before it used to double plays, you got to get down.
Well, down is one thing, and elbow is something else, isn't it? Beltran handles the line drive by Woodward, and the inning is over. On to the 3rd with no score. We go to the 3rd inning in Atlanta with no score. Oliver Perez, a .368 hitter, will lead off.
7 for 19 on the year, and more importantly, he's driven in a run and he's scored 5.
Well, what he's been doing is getting his bat on the ball.
Yeah, it's called the bail and wail.
And there it is. Since he fouls it off. I mean, very few of his hits have been anything of beauty, but he's just getting his bat on the ball.
Oh, look at that. That is not Fred Asparagus.
He kind of just sweeps that bat through the strike zone, though.
He stays level. That's why he has a chance. He's a cut and slasher.
Very nice. Nicely said.
Yes.
You didn't use that other terminology.
Oh, gee, I've wiped that from my memory.
What was that, Ron? You said
I can't say it. I called someone a punching Judy.
Oh.
Can you believe it?
Well,
that's horrible.
I don't think that's so terrible.
I don't think it's so terrible.
It's terrible if you called the hitter that. If you're the hitter, you wouldn't like that.
I don't think we were referring to that.
I know. 1-2 to Perez. And James gets him looking. First strikeout for Chuck James, one down in the third. So James has his first strikeout. Well, across the street is the former home of the Braves, now a parking lot, Fulton County Stadium, but they left a little piece of the outfield fence up. The part in left field where Hank Aaron hit his famous 715th home run.
There it is.
It was one ugly stadium.
It was the last of the black and white scoreboards. Remember?
That's right.
When they had the video monitor up there, they were one of the first stadiums that had video on the scoreboard.
And there's the implosion, which you'll not see at Shea Stadium, by the way.
Can't do that in New York State, right?
Shea will be taken apart piece by piece, and they'll turn the place into a parking lot. But they will leave the outline of where home plate is at Shea in the parking lot. And in fact, they'll leave the outline of the bases there as well. And they'll use it for games.
For games, the wheelchair games that they have there, and it's great.
2-1 to Reyes, who flied out his first time up. Reyes has 2 home runs this year, one of them against James.
And I think it's important to note on Jose Reyes. He's got 23 walks this season, and we're not even close to the halfway point.
.396 on base percentage, 10th in the league. And he draws another walk. Good note, Keith.
Very good. Good timing.
Right on top of it.
I'm getting better, guys.
Second walk issued by James. And here's Sean Green, who drew the first one. We'll see how classic a number 2 hitter Green is here, whether he gives Reyes a chance to try to steal. Now, James was pretty easy to run on last year, but he's gotten better.
He's got a little better move. He's varying his move. But with Reyes on first base, that opens up a huge hole for Sean Green on the right side.
That's why you like to have a left-hand hitter hitting second.
Well, I don't think that the adjustment for Sean Green, number one, he's hit a full season in the number 2 position. He's a patient hitter, so I don't think it's going to have any effect with him worrying about getting behind the count. He's got such a good eye at the plate, and he's a tough strikeout. But I don't think it'll affect him. Ronnie, my question for you is, the Cardinal teams, you got to put Reyes in this mix.
Yes.
How did that affect you if you walked Vince Coleman and then you had to start the game from the stretch?
Well, one, you'd have Mel or Davey screaming from the dugout. Davey would be straight into the antacids if you walked. No, but what it would change is that the Cardinals were so difficult in those mid-'80s because it wasn't only Vince Coleman. The entire team could run, and they would run, and they wanted to run. And you had to combat that as much as you combated the hitter. And you had to do it at first base. You had to do it at second base. You had to be careful it was first and third. They were just pushing the envelope all the time. So going into the game, you had to think to yourself, hey, listen, not only do I have to get the hitters out, but if I don't, I have to manage the running also.
1-1 to Green. And he lines one up the middle. Base hit. Just past the dive of Prado, and the Mets have 2 men on. The thing about those Cardinal teams, they not only stole bases, they played hit and run, which nobody does anymore. As you look at the hit by Green.
Well, watch the second baseman, Prado. Here he almost makes a heck of a play. Watch Reyes. Good base running. He froze because the almost ball was caught. It's a great angle right here. You see Jose freezing. He would not have been doubled up. That's great base running.
You know, the one advantage to go back to those Cardinals is that if Coleman got on and Herb batting in the second spot, you could throw a ball right down the middle. Tommy Herr would always take the first pitch. So you're allowed to strike, although Tommy is a good 2-strike hitter, but at least you're allowed that first pitch right down the middle.
Here's Beltran, flying to center his first time up, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Mets have 3 of the top 6 hitters in the league against lefties, with Reyes, Beltran, and Duca. Trying to cash in against James here in the third with 1 out.
Well, it's funny, Carlos, of course, made that out on the first pitch. He took that fastball down the middle. Mel Stottlemyre used to have a saying that he said, if a hitter, first time through the lineup, makes an out on the first pitch, very rarely is he going to swing at the next pitch, first pitch, his next at bat, because no one wants to make 2 outs on 2 pitches.
Unless you're Mackey Sasser.
There's exceptions. Miguel Olivo now.
Right.
Well, I won't be contemporary. How about contemporary here? How about that lumber company, that whole pirate lineup back in the late 70s?
Yes.
They were swingers, boy.
One and one to Beltran. Well, the Mets have the best team batting average of any club against lefties this year, and it's the reason they're 9-3 against left-handed starters this year. Look at that, 332 against lefties.
And that, folks, includes the pitchers, so that's just stunning.
Beltran started the day hitting .404 from this side. 2-1 to Carlos. Funny thing is, there have been a lot more lefties starting games this year. Look at that, 2 of them tonight. 31% of the games have been started by lefties. That's the highest percentage in 15 years.
Well, the Braves have had 19 games against left-handers this year. The Mets only 12. The Mets are 9-3. The Braves 9-10.
So this is the 20th game the Braves have faced a lefty. That's a stunning number in 46 games.
You know, Reyes is trying to get a big lead here. Green at first base is trying to piggyback in case he steals. You got to be very careful if you're Green with Woodward coming behind you. Saltalamacchia trying to throw that ball to first.
Reyes took a false start towards second. Green almost started behind him, and Beltran lost the bat on that foul ball.
Now Sean's got to be careful, as you can see here. The first baseman behind Sean, I saw Reyes break, but look how close Woodward is to Green. It can always be that first and second pickoff, which I love that pickoff, getting the guy at first with runners on first and second.
Remember, though, that Woodward hadn't played a whole lot of first base.
I understand, but it's always a sign. We worked on it running all the time.
On 2-2, Beltran pulls one foul. Change up from James.
That pickoff play, first and second with the first baseman and the pitcher, that could come from the pitcher.
Yes.
Ronnie could give it to me, or I can give it to him, and you always had to have a confirmation sign back, like a squeeze. I give the sign, Ronnie had to confirm it back, or vice versa. Otherwise, it wasn't on.
A lot of times you wouldn't even. I wouldn't give a sign. I just try to catch. The longer you play with someone, I would just try to catch Keith's eyes. If he catches eyes, and then he might put it on.
Runners go, pitch high, throw to second. It goes into center field. Reyes will get up and he'll come on home, and the Mets take the lead. Green winds up at third, 1-0 New York. Well, the throw was there, but it went through Prado.
Look at the strength of this throw. They said Saltalamacchia can throw, and boy, look at this. What happened with Prado?
Went right through him.
That's called the clank. That's what that is. Just completely missed it.
And Reyes, they had a chance to throw out Reyes at third, but they were going to go to second all the way, get the much slower Green, obviously. He's dead to rights. What? My clank is right.
Well, they've charged the error to Saltalamacchia, but that's kind of ridiculous. Now Beltran trying to get the run in from third, and it's fouled away. So it's a double steal. Reyes picks up his 26th stolen base, and Green is fourth. And then the error scores Reyes and sends Green to third.
Boy, dangerous play, right? If he catches the ball with the infield in now, if he catches the ball, there's 2 outs and a runner on third. Now the Mets have a run in. Bad play by Prado.
Infield in, and Beltran goes down on the changeup. There's a big strikeout for Chuck James. He's got a good off-speed pitch.
You ain't lying here, Gary.
That ball just dove down and away from Beltran.
Did I say ain't? I didn't mean that.
No, you didn't.
What'd you mean?
Well, what is the proper? You're not kidding.
So 2 away. Here's Wright, who popped up his first time up. In the air to center field. Deep. And Andrew drifting to make the grab. So the Mets steal a run and lead it 1-0.
Well, Turner Field hasn't exactly been the best place to play for the New York Mets over the years, but they do grab an early lead today, so far so good for the Mets. And anytime here at Turner Field the Braves get a rally, as Met fans know, you hear the tomahawk chop. I'm standing right under the big tom-tom where the tomahawk chop all begins here. In fact, members of a drum line here called the heavy hitters take turns pounding this thing, getting the chop to go. But as you may or may not know, the tomahawk chop isn't originally from Atlanta. Actually started out in Florida State at a football game in 1984. Seminoles were playing the Auburn Tigers. Pretty intense game. As the war chant was playing by the band, some fans just started doing the arm motion, and it turned into a big thing at Florida State. By '86, it was a tradition. Didn't come here to Atlanta until Deion Sanders got here as a Brave in 1991. Makes sense, of course. Sanders, the former Florida State star quarterback, brought the chant here until the tomahawk chant, the tomahawk chop, was born, and they bang this loud drum. It's a little noisy, guys, so after 3 innings I've had enough. There you go. I'm gonna head back around and watch the game. Back up to you guys.
Yeah, that would get a little annoying after a while, those loud noises. And Chuck James, not much of a hitter, but he's got a hit. Well, we saw this last night with Kyle Davies. Chuck James came to the plate 2 for 38 in his big league career. Now he's 3 for 39.
Well, it's not pretty, but it was effective. He stayed level. His fanny was flying out. He was stepping in the bucket, but he kept his hands back. I miss Chief Nakahoma.
That's right.
I'm sure you can find him in a retirement home somewhere.
I wonder where he went.
Here's Martin Prado.
There he is.
Chief Nakahoma on the premises. And Prado takes a strike. Well, Prado was not charged with the error, but his muff of Saltalamacchia's throw cost the Braves the first run of the game. So now he's got a chance to redeem himself. Popped up to third base his first time up. And a good backdoor slider for a strike, and it's 0-2. Oliver Perez has had base runners in every inning. And he bounces that slider far enough away for James to make a break. And he arrives safely. That'll be a wild pitch.
Well, tough chance for the Duca on this slider. Way down and in. Gets away from nice heads up base running by James. And we'll see if Bobby Cox now is 2 strikes. He won't put the bunt on. If there was less than 2 strikes, I'm sure he would want to advance the runner to third.
1-2 to Prado. Fights that one off. 93-mile-an-hour fastball up and in. Renteria waits to follow. So the Mets get an unearned run to go in front, and the Braves trying to fight right back. Prado goes the other way. Toward the line is Green. Makes the dive, and he made the catch. James tags at second and goes to third, but an outstanding play and foul ground by Sean Green for the first out.
Well, this ball is going to be fouled. Nice catch by Sean. And you always go for the out. And I tell you what, how about this guy right here, Mr. James? Nice base running. 2 nice base running plays by James in this inning.
So the tying run at third with 1 out for Renteria, who singled to right his first time up, and the Mets are playing about halfway at second and short.
And they're in at the corners.
Ball 1 to Renteria.
I'd be more inclined to concede a run here. It's early. Stay away from a big inning.
Well, Renteria is one of their hottest hitters. It's just hard to give him bigger holes.
And he's always been such a good clutch hitter. Chases that fastball, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, he knows he went. Got a little bit too anxious. Even the good hitters sometimes try to do too much.
You know, it's interesting. He had that tough year in Boston. Sometimes that left field wall works for right-handed hitters, and sometimes it doesn't. And Renteria in the first inning, of course, with that base hit to right field, that's more the kind of hitter he is, gap to gap.
Popped up, and that's out of play. We're going all the way back to 1997. It was Renteria who had the game-winning hit in Game 7 of the World Series for the Florida Marlins, and that really established his bona fides as a guy who could get big hits in big spots, and he's been doing it ever since.
Counsell scored the run. Jose Mesa, was he the pitcher? Base hit up the middle.
And Omar Vizquel never forgot. Vizquel ripped Mesa in his book for costing them that World Series, and every time Mesa has faced Vizquel since, he's thrown at him. Every time. And it's all Renteria's fault.
Yeah.
2-2 to Edgar. And the slider misses. 3-2. Chipper Jones waiting to follow. Perez has not struck out a batter tonight. He's averaged just about a strikeout per inning this year, and he could sure use one right now.
Good slider right there, and he got a piece of it to stay in the at bat.
Yeah, that's good hitting. That ball is a sharp downer. Got to be looking fastball 3-2. He gets that nasty slider, and that's what good hitters do, and that's what makes them good hitters. They foul off those pitches. But as a hitter, as a pitcher, you make your best pitch, they foul it off, and now you're standing out there. Now what do I do? You just fouled off that great slider. How am I going to get this guy out?
So what does he do?
I think he goes right back at it.
Slider?
It's another slider.
Okay. Well, he shook off a Duca there.
Setting up inside. Fastball missed, and he walked it.
Just missed.
First walk given up by Perez, and his first walk against Atlanta this season in 15 innings. So now runners at the corners with one out for Chipper Jones. Chipper ripped a single to left his first time up.
Got to be careful here. Chipper loves to swing at that first pitch with ducks on the pond.
The infield now at double play depth, and Chipper takes a strike. Just about the same location as the pitch had just missed.
I tell you what, you see right there those numbers of runners in scoring position, very un-Chipper-like.
12 homers, only 27 RBIs this year, with the two guys ahead of him getting on better than 40%. Renteria runs, Duca throws. Not in time. Third stolen base of the year for Renteria. Close play.
Well, good throw by Duca. Good strike by Perez. And just a good jump by Renteria. Good throw. When they get a good jump, there's nothing you can do. Just got in there. It's closer than I thought, Gary. You're right.
Only the second stolen base against Perez this year. 0-2 to Chipper, and he lines one, caught by Delgado. Throws to second, but Renteria gets back. Well, Delgado trying to lead Reyes to the bag. Could have thrown to second or third.
Well, he's right, playing in the middle of nowhere's land right there. It's kind of halfway. And he's in the right position here. Everybody was on the move there, but all good base running. So a good break for a great break for Perez and the Mets.
So here's Frank Kerr with two in scoring position and two out. And he lofts one down the right field side foul.
Well, Frank Kerr has come into this game hitting .429 with runners in scoring position and two outs.
There's another guy who worked against your theory, Ronnie.
That's right.
Flied out of the first pitch his first time up and went up there hacking.
That's right. 23 two-out RBIs, Frank Kerr, this year, Keith.
James and Renteria, the base runners. Perez trying to keep the Mets in the lead. And it gets away. Did it hit him? It hit him. Second batter that Perez has hit. The runner will have to go back to third on the dead ball. So Frank Kerr is hit by the pitch, and the bases are loaded for Matt Diaz. Well, Perez had only hit one batter this year through his first 8 starts. He's hit 2 in the last 2 innings.
Well, the thing about Perez is that he has such a nasty slider that it breaks so late that the hitters just cannot get out of the way. Another one in the back foot of Andrew Jones, back foot of Frank Kerr.
And Willie Randolph out for one of his pep talks.
Both hit by pitches have been that slider run, and both off the back foot of right-hand hitters.
When Willie goes out there and not Rick Peterson, it's more of a challenge by the manager to his pitcher. Hey, come on now. This is a big part of the game. Got a couple of outs here. Got to come up big.
Well, he threw breaking balls to Diaz his first time up, got ahead of him, and they got him to roll out to second. Bases loaded, 2 down, 1-0 New York, bottom of the third. And Diaz has been a red-hot hitter. Gets a fastball, but it misses, 1-0.
I think that was good by Willie to go out there, because I think sometimes as a pitcher, you throw a couple of good sliders that do hit the guys. I think you want to go out there and make sure that he doesn't lose his aggressiveness, but he still goes right after the hitters.
Oh, and a slider in for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Well, great pitch. 1-0 as a hitter. You just got to take this. You're looking fastball.
Look at that late break. It was over the middle.
And that's that slower speed slider that he's been throwing.
Yes.
On 1-1, Diaz takes the fastball in tight, and it's 2-1.
Well, it's the same count as 1-0 right now. The
Yes.
bases are loaded. Always throughout my career, I love to get ahead in the count on a pitcher with the bases loaded when he's in a tough spot.
Diaz hitting .486 in the month of May, so he's been steaming. But he fouls off the slider, and it's 2-2.
The ability to throw that slider behind in the count, just outstanding by Perez. Andrew Jones on deck. And you're right, Keith, for a hitter, bases loaded, to get ahead in that count, boy, what a weapon, because at 2-1 as a pitcher, it's more dire than 2-1 when there isn't the bases loaded, because you cannot go to 3 balls, or you do not want to go to 3 balls because you have nowhere to put the hitter.
And you can see Diaz's month of May, if you're wondering at home why he's hitting ahead of Andrew Jones.
2-2 to Diaz with the bases full. Slider hit in the air to right, and Green has it lined up. And Oliver Perez able to work out of trouble in the 3rd inning. Outstanding job by Perez. A hit, a walk, and a hit bat spin, but he gets the big out to keep the Mets in the lead. Ready to party with SNY on May 24th. That's tomorrow. Head to the back page on 83rd Street and 3rd Avenue for a Mets Live on SNY viewing party. Join us for the game at 7:30 for the Mets food and drink specials and more. We won't be there, but we'll be on the TV.
Yes,
watch
we'll
us.
sort of be there.
Yes, we'll say hi to them.
So when we say join us, we mean in an electronic sense.
We'll tell them how sorry we are we can't be there with them.
Paul Duca leads off the 4th and takes ball 1 from Chuck James. Duca fly to left his first time up. Ball with 3 hits last night. And he lines a base hit. Well, Duca staying hot, and the Mets have the leadoff man on for the first time tonight.
Whoever taught Paul Duca how to hit taught him the right way.
So here's Delgado, dropped to number 6 in the order. If you're just joining us, first time since 1997 that Delgado has hit this far down in anybody's batting order. But Willie Randolph felt it was the time to take a little pressure off him. Delgado will tell you it doesn't make one whit of difference. And he says, I have to hit no matter where I am in the batting order. But got a base hit his first time up tonight. You see the number of times he's hit in every slot in the batting order. Last time he hit 7th was 1995.
When he's a pup.
Yep. And James gets ahead of him 0-2. Braves have the full shift on against Delgado. He hit it right through Chipper Jones his first time up. Chipper playing way over towards second base. Fouls it away.
So he's coming. He's trying to wait here, and he weighs. I always liked to hit a left-hander when I was in a slump because it made me stay in. And you don't mind getting beat here. I'd rather see him get jammed, but see, he's been under everything. He's hitting the bottom half of the ball.
Breaking ball toward his chin. 1-2.
Well, I was taught by my father for overcompensation. The minute that when I was starting from a young kid, if he thought I was swinging up in batting practice, he'd say try to swing down. and you won't swing down, you'll swing level. And just concentrate on in batting practice and don't even think about a home run. Think about line drives, ground balls.
The thing about Delgado is he's a power hitter who's always hit for a high average. I mean, last year he hit for a relatively low average for him, but he hit the 38 home runs and drove in 114 runs. So it's not just that he's not hitting for power. He's used to being a 300 hitter. I mean, he's 213 right now. Tries to lay off, and he held it. Mitchell Hernandez with the call. It's 3-2.
Oh, he's hot. He didn't swing. I don't think he swung. Let's see his fanny flying out. He has no balance. He's starting too quick. And he knows it. It's just been so prolonged for him.
On 3-2, Delgado hits it through that wide open space on the left side, and he's 2 for 2. Well, you give him 70 feet of the third base line, and he found it.
Well, we're gonna show you the pitch sequence, and the most important pitch is going to be the last pitch. A changeup for a strike, knee-high outside corner fastball for a strike away. Fouled back a fastball inner half up. Changeup got away from him 1-2. Slider misses 2-2. Another slider, he just holds up 3-2. Look at this level swing. That's what he needs to do. That's beautiful. That will get him out of it.
So here's the question, okay? You drop him to the 6 hole. He's already 2 for 2. Say he has a huge day. Do you keep him in the 6 hole because he was successful there, or you put him right back in his regular spot?
I don't know. I think 3 or 4 days you need to show that you're out of it, not just one day.
I think that if he has a big night tonight, Gary, in this spot, leave him there. Then when he gets rolling, he's back in the old power spot.
Here's Easley. Corners are in as though Easley might bunt. Hard to believe that he would here. And he's not bunting, and he takes the changeup for a strike. I mean, with the 8-hitter, a rookie on deck, it's not really a bunting spot, is it?
No, you got to let Easley swing the bat.
Carlos Gomez to follow, and then the pitcher.
Play for the big inning.
Yes. You got one of your hottest hitters. 7 home runs. Catch one of those fastballs out over the plate, and it could be 4-0.
And Easley, as we mentioned earlier, hit his first home run this year against James.
Well, there's all the things that happen at first base.
A couple of longtime teammates, both with the Mets and with the Blue Jays. Delgado and Woodward.
You can't get bored at first base. You're in everything.
You get company.
Yes.
Easily taps one foul. I mean, you know, Sean Casey talks more than anybody.
Were you a big talker?
I was a big talker.
It was my least favorite. My least favorite, to tell you the truth. Having a rough day, someone hits a bolt. I look over to see Keith, and Keith and his buddy are chatting away. You and Sarge. Hey, how you doing?
I was always trying to extract information.
Yes.
You know, the guy got a base hit. Hey, are you hot? Even though it looks like you're red hot. Oh no, I feel terrible. I'm not swinging the bat. I'm just so happy to get that hit.
So you were being a spy, is
I
what
was
you're saying.
absolutely you never trust a left-handed first baseman.
Would you get the book on your own pitcher? Say, hey, how's Darling throwing today? Is it throwing all right? Doesn't look like he has anything today. Probably.
I would not rat on my pitchers. I drew the line there. But it was always important to know if a hitter was hot, how he felt the plate.
Easley lines a base hit to left field. Duca goes to third. He'll be held there, and the Mets have the bases loaded with nobody out. So Easley with the base hit on 0-2, and 3 straight hits have filled him up for the Mets.
Boy, you see that a lot, don't you? 0-2 pitches that are too good. And I think a lot of that comes from the pitchers just don't have the kind of control that they'd like. So they get to 0-2 and they can't wait to get the at-bat over. And you end up giving up a base hit to Easley.
An 0-2 changeup, not away enough.
Now the Braves know the scouting report on Gomez. They know how fast he is and how tough he would be to double up. So they play their middle infielders a little more shallow than normal. Strike one to Gomez.
Well, they're in double play depth. I'm a little surprised with a 1-0 game that they're in at the corners. I can see third base where Chipper is, but not first base. I would try to get a double play, probably not, but a base hit, and you're in big trouble.
Gomez whacks one foul, and it's 0-2. And if you're James, you have to be thinking strikeout.
Yeah, and James is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's thrown 2 balls. Gomez has swung at both. And what happens when you're a young hitter and you get the bases loaded for the first time in the big leagues, what are you doing? Can't wait to swing. Can't wait to put the ball in play to try to get some of these RBIs.
Gomez has 2 runs batted in. Grounds one, foul.
Gomez really has an open stance, pronounced.
Kind of a front foot hitter too, isn't he, Keith?
I haven't seen enough of him yet,
Yeah.
Ron. Way open, but look where he strides. Got out in front there in that change. I go up the ladder on him to see if he's swinging a bad fastball up out of the strike zone.
Line drive, center field. Jones in, makes the catch. Here comes Duca. Here comes Andrews' throw. It's up the line. Duca scores, and it's 2-0 New York. On 0-2, Gomez hit it hard, and the sacrifice fly brings in the second Met run.
Well, I think what a nice play by Jones. A strong throw home. A little up the line.
You know what made that play though, Keith? Is Duca was not rushing on that hit to take 2 or 3 steps towards the plate. He just calmly went back to third, got his wits about him, and got a good jump on that line drive.
Well, that's also, Ronnie, knowing where your outfielders are.
Yes.
Knowing that Andrew Jones plays a shallow center field. He knew that ball was going to be caught.
So 2-0 New York, and now Perez up there probably to bunt as the corners come in on him. Perez went down looking his first time up. And he lays off. It's ball 1. Oliver has 2 sacrifices this year. 7 hits.
Woodward is more of a middle infielder, very aggressive at first base, charging. So Perez has to bunt this ball, make Chipper Jones field this bunt.
It's got to get him over here.
But again, with an inexperienced first baseman, if you bunt the ball to Woodward, is he throwing the ball to third?
I would not doubt that Woodward would throw the ball to third. I don't think he's afraid to make that throw. He might be inexperienced as far as first base, but he's a middle infielder. He knows how to field once that ball's on the ground.
2-0 now to Perez.
He's got to throw a strike here. This drives infielders crazy.
Oh, he knocked him down.
Oh.
And Perez, who's used to leaping over lines, that time had to spin out of the box.
Well, it's hard to get out of there because as a hitter, you're trying to bunt. You're trying to get your nose over the plate to make that bunt. You never expect that that pitch is going to be at your melon.
Well, that's a little undressing right there, as we used to say.
You got to take a pitch here, right?
Yes.
Or maybe 2. Reyes on deck, takes it, and it's a strike. 3-1.
Yeah, I wouldn't take 2, Gary, because you know, that way you're allowed, if you make a mistake on this 3-1 bunt, you have another chance.
Chad Peranto up in the Braves bullpen. Boy, they got some size in that man. So Wickman last night, and Perez bunts it foul. So there's a mistake, and now it's 3-2.
Still keep the bunt on here.
Yes.
Reyes to follow.
Sometimes it's hard keeping your backside there in the box after you've been undressed 2 pitches before.
Pitch count starting to rise on James. He's given up 3 hits and a run here in the 4th. And on 3-2, he gets the bunt down beautifully. Chipper has to handle it, and the runners are advanced. So all's well that ends well for Oliver Perez. After taking a seat in the batter's box, he winds up with the sacrifice.
Well, you see Chipper here. He has to vacate. This is what you want to. That's why you want to bunt down the third baseline. Basic fundamentals. You know, that's the stuff you work on if you're a pitcher, Ronnie. When you're bunting, you got to be able to bunt the ball down the third base line.
Yeah, and as a left-handed pitcher, if you bust her toward that third base line, it's an easy play for you to make the third base, but James really didn't get off the mound very well.
So here's Reyes, who's been the Mets' best with runners in scoring position this year, and he'll be intentionally walked, and they'll bring up Sean Green instead with the bases loaded. So this will be the second walk of the night for Reyes.
And 25th on the year.
and they said it would never happen.
Yes.
That's on a pace for what, 90 or so walks now? We're through 1/4 of the season.
Well, 2 years ago, for the full season, Reyes walked 27 times.
Oh.
Last year, 53, and as you say, now on a pace for 90 or more.
Could double last year's output. That's amazing.
So a huge spot here for Sean Green, who's already got a walk and a base hit tonight. He's also stolen a base.
Well, the Braves have had all these 2-out RBIs this season. This is a chance for the Mets to turn the table on them.
Green hitting second for the first time this year. Batting here with the bases loaded and 2 out. And he hammers one down to first, and Woodward's got it to end the inning. So the Mets settle for 1 run, and James pitches out of further trouble. It's 2-0 New York. Daily News Live is the place to break down the sports issues of the day. Join the panel of special guests as the discussion and debate rages on in the heart of the media capital of the world. Daily News Live, weekdays at 5 with encores at 11 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. only on SNY. Not only on Aflac. Wow. Come on, Duck. Wait. The answer to our question before Kyle Davies, last Braves pitcher to homer against the Mets. See, they got you.
I knew it.
Do you think they would have asked that question if that weren't the answer?
No, you know. Well, I'll tell you, I got the last laugh against these Bravos, though. 13-3 lifetime. I just told by the great Dan Barr in the truck down there. So.
And a save.
Now the game that
well, I didn't get a save. We were up by 4.
That's right.
We only won by a couple because you made an error.
In my book, that was a save.
It was a save.
I was gonna
anything at 4:30 in the morning is a save.
I was going to ask if you won the Derek Lilliquist game, but they just flashed your line. You didn't.
They didn't. I think it was 2 2-run home runs, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
That was
as
at
bad
Fulton County.
That's as bad as bad can get.
Were you Larry Darling?
Larry, I was Larry Darling the next day. Yeah. Look at that. Oh,
look at that.
God. Oh.
That's
two. It was 2 2-run home runs from Lilliquist.
So he drove in all the runs against you.
Oh God, embarrassing. Well, you know what?
It happens.
University of Georgia, Lilliquist.
It happened around. The line of demarcation was around 1990 when I started ruining my baseball card. After that it was just downhill.
2-2 to Andrew Jones, who was hit on the foot by a pitch his first time up. Pulls that one foul.
Although I loved pitching here. They used to call it the launching pad, but certainly the teams that I faced here in Atlanta, they weren't the great teams. They're the teams that Tommy Glavine was losing 17 games, and John Smoltz wasn't winning a lot of games. So the Mets teams in the 80s were very good on beating up on the lambs of the league, weren't we?
One year we beat them 11 out of 12,
yeah.
And the one game we lost, it was a doubleheader, and we had like a 6-run lead and blew it late. We almost won 12-0 against them that year.
You guys were good at that. You were good at beating up on the bad teams. I remember one year against Pittsburgh, you won 17 out of 18.
Yeah.
And a bad swing by Andrew Jones, and he goes down. First strikeout for Oliver Perez.
Well, good fastball, Perez. I like when he climbs the ladder, changes that eye level for the hitter, especially with Andrew Jones, who loves the high fastball, and if he can just raise it about head level, he'll swing through it.
So here's Jared Saltalamacchia.
Very good.
I don't have a problem with the length of his name. It's the syllables.
6, right?
6 syllables.
It is the longest name, first and second name in history of Major League Baseball.
Wow.
I thought Albert Red Shandies was the longest.
Well, he's tied for the shortest.
Yeah.
There's never been a 2-letter last name.
There's Ed Ott.
Right, he's at 3. Well, you had with the Brooklyn Dodgers, you had the roommates with the shortest names, Rowe and Cox.
That's
Preacher
right.
Rowe and Billy Cox.
That's right.
And the 2 of them don't even have half of Saltalamacchia.
That's great for signing baseballs, isn't it?
Oh, gosh.
I have a feeling that when Saltalamacchia signs his name, he probably doesn't feature all 14 letters.
Yeah,
just a guess.
More of a scribble in lines.
The H gets in the way, though, in the end of that autograph. You just can't draw a straight line.
That's true.
We know all the tricks.
Popped up. Delgado and Duca looking for it, and it hits the camera. The camera got in the way. That's our fault. Sorry, guys.
No, I think that's Turner. It's not us.
Oh, okay. See, our camera wouldn't get in their way.
Our camera would have been got out of the way.
Is that our guy?
It would have made the catch.
Tell us, Webby, is that our guy or not? That's our guy. See, Webby's honest. That's our camera. That's ETV. Not to be confused with EdTV. Takes a hit and keeps on ticking. Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Oliver Perez. His first 2 of the night.
And Ronnie once again here going up the ladder, like you said.
I just like when he does this because it's different eye sights for the hitter. They have to be worried about that pitch up in the strike zone, and they're also looking for that fastball. When it's out of the strike zone, they swing through it.
Here's the Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets home games on SNY are in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable. Do you see in HD? Chris Woodward fouls it back. Mets have 1 more to go in Atlanta tomorrow night. It's a big matchup. Tom Glavine and John Smoltz, round 3. And it's down to Florida for the weekend and home to face Barry and the Giants on Tuesday night. Woodward fouls it back, and it's 0-2.
We got back-to-back CW11 games, Gary. We only got 1 shirt. I hope we got to get a couple fans.
Got to get some Woolite.
We need some fans up here, kind of air it out. That second game.
Well, maybe they could send us another shirt between now and the weekend. Would that be too much to ask? 1-2 to Woodward.
You guys are so cool. You don't even sweat when you do the games. Don't worry about it.
By the way, if you're in the car, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. They can wear any shirt they want.
That's right.
It's hot in Florida, you know. And Woodward swings and misses, and Oliver Perez strikes out the side of the 4th inning. Give that man an extra leap over the foul line. The sartorially splendid radio crew. Mets up 2-0 after 4. The Mets Ticket Marketplace is the easiest and best way to access premium seat locations at Shea. Sign up for your membership now at Mets.com. Members can purchase available Prime Club and box seats for single games directly from the Mets Ticket Marketplace. For more information, visit Mets.com. Carlos Beltran leads off the 5th inning for New York. Mets getting runs in the 3rd and 4th against Chuck James. By the way, remember the first run the Mets scored when the ball got through Prado at second base? They have changed the error and given it properly to Prado. You would figure a guy named Prado would be good near the bag.
That's right. Exactly.
0-2 to Beltran. Carlos has flied to center and struck out. David Wright on deck, and then Paul Duca here in the 5th. Bounces the changeup.
Well, unlike Tom Glavine, who is on the 3rd base side of that rubber, Chuck James just the opposite. On the 1st base side of the rubber, you can see his pants dirty from all the base running he was doing.
Delgado gets under the changeup. And Saltalamacchia makes the grab, 1 away. Time for a baseball night in New York update. Let's check in with the studio and Matt Yellow.
All right, Gary, in the Bronx, this game, Curt Schilling against the Yankees, all Yankees. Hideki Matsui takes him deep in the 1st. Doug Mankiewicz goes deep. Andy Pettitte throwing a shutout. 6-0 Yanks in the 6th.
Yankees trying to get back within 9.5.
Andy Pettitte pulled those socks up today, trying to get a little extra luck, being pitching in bad luck all season. Not getting a lot of runs. Tonight he is.
Not getting a lot of runs. And also, I think the bullpen's blown 3 saves for him.
3 saves, 2 by Mariano.
Wright is 0 for 2. He launches one to deep left field. Back goes Diaz looking up, and it's out of here. David Wright with his 8th home run of the year, his 4th in the last 4 games. And the Mets now have a 3-0 lead. David Wright heating up in the month of May.
If you'll watch this home run when we show it, and that dance, it's got to get off the top step. It's the same pitch as he hit off Meyer. Down in the strike zone, out over the plate. And David, that's his happy area. Oh, a little skip there.
The changeup, right, Keith?
I believe so. He waited nicely on it.
Duca takes ball one.
But look in the strike zone's down. Nice waiting. Very similar pitch from the two from Myers in that Yankee series. Nice hitting.
And Duca lines one to deep left field, back toward the fence, and it hops off the wall. Diaz picks it off barehanded. Duca to second in sliding with his 200th career double.
Well, Duca's just hitting everything hard and using the whole ballpark to do it.
He loves hitting in this ballpark. Wow.
Hit over 500 at Turner Field last year.
Well, he just red hot. And I got to believe when Alou comes back in the lineup, he's going to go right back in that number 2 position in the lineup.
So Duca 5 out of 7 in this series. And here's Delgado. Dropped to the number 6 spot. And he's had 2 base hits, both through the left side of the infield against the left-hander.
Well, this is a game the Mets wanted to win here and not have to go into tomorrow trying to avoid a sweep, even the series, and makes it all the tougher tomorrow for that swing game in the series.
Makes that matchup against Smoltz and Glavine even more appealing.
Well, we've talked enough about the struggles of Delgado. We're just going to run up here his career numbers because they are impressive. And just show you the kind of player he has been. And he is deserving of this. This has been the worst slump of his career. And he's 2 for 2 today against the left-handers. There you go, 410 home runs, 1,300 RBIs. That's Hall of Fame stuff.
Keith, they're playing the infield defense differently third time up after those 2 hits through the left side.
They're a little bit more that's right. Gary, you're so observant.
They had that full shift on with Chipper over near second base, but they're playing just about straight up now.
You don't miss a trick, do you? Look at that.
Well, Chipper's got to play close to the bag anyways, just in case. You know, you can't let Duca just take third base.
Pulled down to first, and Woodward will take it to the bag. That's the second out, and Duca moves to third.
Well, that's an out in your scorebook, but that's another good at bat for Mr. Delgado.
So Damian Easley will try and get the run in, but he'll do it against a different pitcher. Chuck James's night has just come to an end. Bobby Cox on his way out. And Easley will see a right-hander with a runner at third and 2 out. David Wright is homered here in the 5th inning to put the Mets up by 3. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home. Well, Carlos Delgado 2 for 3 tonight.
Every at bat getting better. A little out in front on this one. See, but better. Going the other way. A little out in front. Now this one's perfect. Level. Look at that balance. Straight up and down. And now they come inside. Beautiful. Meant to go away over the middle. A ball for him to drive. 3 very, very good at bats for Carlos. Something to build on.
Chad Peranto takes over the pitching for the Braves.
See that ERA. Appeared in 65 games last year for the Bravos, but his last outing against Boston, 1 1/3, 5 hits, 5 runs.
That can happen up there in Boston.
Ooh.
That lineup.
Chad Peranto from the University of Massachusetts facing Damian Easley with a runner at third and 2 out. Lifted to shallow center. Andrew coming on. Peranto throws one pitch. It gets Easley to end the top of the 5th, but the Mets add a run on David Wright's home run. Wright's 4th home run in the last 4 games. And it's got the Mets ahead of the Braves 3-0. Lots of places for the kids to play here at Turner Field.
Nice.
They're going to have the same kind of thing at Citi Field. Places for the kids to play some wiffle ball or have some fun when they get a little restless. Oliver Perez now with a 3-0 lead. Willie Harris pinch hitting for Chad Peranto leads off and takes ball one. And if you're wondering why a left-hand hitter, well, the Braves have 5 guys on their bench and they're all left-hand hitters.
Well, Bobby Cox opted to go with the right-handed lineup.
Harris started in left field last night, went 1 for 4. Peter Moylan, the side-arming right-hander, up in the Atlanta pen. He has a strike to Harris, 2-1.
Pretty interesting move, huh, by Bobby Cox. Usually you try to get your starting pitcher through that inning with 2 outs because he's up to bat the next inning, but Bobby knows that he could not afford another base hit and get to 4-0 against the Mets. Made that judicious move of bringing in Peranto, got the out uneasily.
There's the line on James. You got to love that job, though. Chad Peranto. You come in, you throw 1 pitch, you're done for the day. That's the life. Slider missed, I think. 3-2.
Barely. Just a pinch low, if anything.
Willie Harris from Cairo, Georgia. Same place that Jackie Robinson was born. That's Cairo, C-A-I-R-O. Not to be confused with the place in Egypt or the former Mets second baseman.
That's right.
3-2 to Harris. Fastball missed and he walked him. Second walk issued by Oliver Perez. Perez trying to get the Mets even in the series and set up a rubber game tomorrow between the old friends and golfing buddies. John Smoltz going for his 200th career win. Glavine going for 296. They'll be facing off for the 3rd time this year. Smoltz won the first one here in Atlanta. Although Glavine didn't get a whole lot of help from his defense in that game.
Well, apparently Glavine and Smoltz had a conversation 2 or 3 days ago, and Glavine was like, it looks like you and I are going to face each other again. You're going for 200. John Smoltz's reaction, said, well, I can't hit right now. I hurt my finger. So, if I don't get a hit, it's not because, it's my finger. So already preparing himself in case he doesn't get a hit off Tommy.
I think he's setting him up.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody thought he was going to pitch on Saturday night, and all he did was shut out the best offensive team in baseball. 1-1 to Prado. And Perez starting to miss with his fastball, 2-1.
It's important for Perez right here, obviously, just to not lose his focus. He can have an inning, Ronnie, where he just loses his focus.
And you got the big hitters coming up after Prado.
Got to help there. Ball 3.
Well, young hitters, this is what they'll do. They'll go out of the strike zone because they're eager to try to get a hit. If he takes that pitch, he's in a pitcher's count now. Advantage Perez.
2-2 to Prado. Duca setting up inside. Fouled it off. Oliver Perez has had a fine season for the Mets, but when he's gotten in trouble, it's generally been around this time of the game.
Well, Prado swung at 2 bad pitches. Should have been on first base with a walk. Both up and out of the strike zone.
Slider missed, and it's 3-2.
He's missing a little bit up because he's not keeping that front shoulder closed. That is the key for Oliver Perez. When you throw from 3/4 like he does, that front shoulder is more important than a pitcher who throws straight over the top.
Runner goes on 3-2, and Prado fouls it off. This is a huge hitter right now in a 3-0 game. You got Renteria, Chipper Jones, Jeff Francoeur all behind Prado. This is a guy you got to get out.
Yes.
This bullpen is quiet.
That was Joe Smith right there on the bottom of your screen with all smiles. Smiling Joe.
It's not his time yet. Runner goes, and Prado again swings at ball 4.
Prado is a free swinger, isn't he?
Gosh almighty. He hasn't got a walk this season. Now, granted, he's only had a handful of bad bats, but he's from that school of thou shalt not pass.
Prado last year with Richmond walked 12 times in 241 at bats. Harris is running, and Prado pops it up. Let's see if it stays in play for Delgado. He has plenty of room, and he's got it. One away. So there's a big out for Oliver Perez.
Well, it makes you wonder. Prado's is a leadoff hitter if he's that free a swinger, especially in a 3-0 ball game.
So here's Renteria, who's been aboard twice already tonight. Single to right and walked. He's also stolen a base. Edgar putting up a big year in his second season in Atlanta. 1-0. And that one alarmed Duca enough that he's going to run the ball out to Perez.
Well, what he'll do is when he opens up that front shoulder, his follow through almost ends up behind the rubber.
Well, he just starts missing badly with his breaking ball, Ronnie, way up.
He's got to keep that front shoulder closed, and he should follow through towards third base. But he almost falls through behind the rubber, spins around.
Good pitch to hit.
There goes Harris. It's a strike, and Harris got such a big jump, Duca couldn't even throw it. And Perez completely ignored Harris, who steals the base.
Well, he's taking all the way here, and it's a fastball, and you knew the fastball was coming. And watch the jump. And Perez is slow home. Yeah. He's someone you can steal off of.
Renteria shoots one foul, and it's 1-2.
Well, see his motion. He looks right to the plate, not at first base. Makes it easy for the runner to run. There's little tips that all left-handers give off, and sometimes when they're looking at the plate, they're coming to first. When they're looking at first, they go to the plate.
He's ahead 1-2 on Renteria. Top toward third. Wright waits on the hop, has the long throw just in time to get Renteria for the second out. And here comes Bobby Cox to argue the call with Mark Carlson.
Well, it's a slow hopper to David. Took a little funny bounce. I think he just nipped him. Take another look. David did not tap his glove that time. He knew he had to rush it. I think he got him.
Looks like he was in the air.
Good hustle by Renteria. He's smelling that hit.
Keith, that ball came off the lip of the grass, and it looked like he just got him. You want him staying back on that ball? You want him to come in a little?
Well, it's a decision you got to make long before that hop, and if you hesitate, then you're just forced to take the long hop, Gary. Because if you come in for it, if you wait that split second, had that one little hesitation on coming in for a short hop, then you're going to get the in-between hop.
He was fortunate that ball didn't take a bigger bounce off the lip than it did. Easily in to talk to Perez. Chipper has hit the ball hard twice. Lined a single to left and lined out to Delgado.
Well, Chipper's going to look for something to make it a 3-2 ball game here.
And the backdoor slider for a strike. Jeff Francoeur hitting cleanup, waiting on deck. Mets 3, Braves nothing. Bottom of the 5th. And Chipper takes that slider and missed 2-1.
Oh, good eye by Chipper right there. That was a bait 79-mile-an-hour off-speed backdoor slider that had a good eye to get ahead in the count.
Reyes to his left. Has time, throws him out. Reyes stayed with it after the little bobble and throws out Chipper Jones. And Oliver Perez has shut the Braves out through 5. 3-0 New York. Weekday afternoons between 4 and 6. Log on to CW11.com for live traffic updates from the CW11's Commuter Cast. Check with Commuter Cast before you hit the road to find the fastest way home or the easiest way to Shea. Right-hander from down under. Peter Moylan takes over the pitching.
That's right, Gary. The Australian native. Peter Moylan is 6 straight scoreless outings for Moylan. In those 7 innings, only 3 hits given up.
Chopped to short by Gomez. Renteria against Gomez's speed. He just got him. Boy, Gomez gets down the line from the right side.
Well, the word will get around real quick. You got no time to fancy Dan it, and Renteria does not. Gets him by step. He can fly.
That's just fun to watch.
Oh, what a gift.
Oh. You know how many extra hits that is in a season running that fast? Gosh.
Perez is 0 for 1. He's taken a call 3rd strike, and then after an adventurous at bat in the 4th, got down a sacrifice bunt. After Chuck James had dusted him. Two and 1 to Perez with Reyes on deck. And now Moylan behind 3 and 1.
There's Roger.
Three and 2 to Perez. Chopped. Renteria runs it down. It'll take a little more time than he did against Gomez. And there are 2 out. Gorgeous night here in Atlanta. Just about perfect conditions.
And these fans aren't getting bombarded with loud music.
But they have that guy in between innings, the peroxide guy, who has something every inning. He's on the board. This guy gives away more than Monty Hall.
Well, Reyes doesn't have a hit in this series, but he walked twice last night. He's walked twice tonight. And he drops down the bunt. Moylan pounces on it. Can he get him? He got him. Well, Moylan with a quick throw gets Reyes trying to bunt his way on. 1-2-3 inning for Moylan. Not too many guys throw out Reyes on this play, but Moylan did. Well, Oliver Perez has already beaten the Braves twice this year. The only 2 wins the Mets have had against Atlanta.
Well, Oliver Perez, the maturation process just continues to go. 2 key outs, 1 in the 3rd to Matt Diaz with a changeup, and then in the 5th inning again with that changeup. Another weapon for Perez to get right-handed hitters out. Outstanding pitching.
Well, he got Chipper out in front there, and Chipper hit it off the end of the bat. He's just been fantastic.
Just before this inning started, Willie Randolph was out at the shortstop position talking to Reyes. Wonder whether he might have been shaken up trying to beat out that bunt. But he's in there as Frank Kerr takes one in the dirt.
Well, he had that little spasm in his hamstring also. Maybe making sure that he's 100%. You don't want to take any chances with that meal ticket in Jose Reyes.
Frank Kerr is 0 for 1, also hit by a pitch, and that slider diving at his feet. Somehow he fouled off.
I mean, you take away that second start where Perez walked 7 guys
in that cold weather.
He has been consistent as consistent can be.
Yeah, the only other one was in San Francisco. That was the one where the defense let him down, but he was unable to stop the bleeding. 2-1 to Frank Kerr.
Well, it started in spring training. I think that when he came over, one of the things that we all commented on when he came over from Pittsburgh is that you were thinking, how could you get this guy in a trade, a virtual throw-in in the Xavier Nady trade? And the reason you got him is not because his stuff was bad, not because his arm was hurt. He had lost his confidence. Simple as that. And that can happen when you play with a poor team that loses night in and night out.
Bang foul. But here's the thing. You got him at 24 years old. A lefty who had already had that kind of a year at 24. It's an incredible steal.
Yeah, incredible steal. And I think what happens for Pittsburgh, and they're going to be shaking their heads, is that a lot of times when you have a big year, which he did 3 years ago.
Curve bounces it to Wright. And there's one away.
Is that you become sort of the face of the franchise. You're the pitcher to go to. And then after a while, when you don't have a good team and you compound loss after loss after loss, there's finger pointing that goes on. And I'm sure there was some finger pointing at Oliver Perez, and he could, you know, some young players are able to deal with it, some are not. Simply just lost his confidence. And, you know, pitching in Game 7 for the Mets against Cardinals last year, coming to spring training knowing that he had a chance to be a starter on a team with a chance to play in the postseason. All those things worked in his favor, and he came to spring training in shape, ready to go, has been aggressive since day one.
So I think it's fair to say, if you're Pittsburgh, and I'm sure they'll say this as Diaz fouls it off, that he would not have been successful in that environment had he stayed. Even if they'd sent him down to the minors, nurtured him, tried to start out from scratch, that maybe that just wasn't the right place for him.
Well, one of the great things, Gary and Keith, you know this too. You went through it. Sometimes a change of scenery can change your career. It really can.
And another thing too, as you look at Feliciano and Smith getting loose, a lot of players are stubborn, Gary, and don't want to change until they hit rock bottom. And then the lucky team gets them. They have the talent, and they listen. And fortunately for Perez, unfortunately for the Mets, there was Rick Peterson down there, that he got his attention and got his release point in one place. The arm is there, and the Mets strike bonanza.
Now, let me ask you this, Ronnie.
Yeah.
You talked about being the face of the franchise and being the go-to guy. Do you think, and this is not to disparage anybody in the Pittsburgh organization, because that's not my point at all, as the slider misses outside. Do you think that because he had so much early success, they just let him do his own thing, whereas Peterson has been able to, you know, take him in hand and not let him freelance as much as he might have in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, great question, and I think absolutely. I think what happens when you have a lot of success early, that you are allowed to sometimes do your own thing because you've achieved that success. And sometimes if you're let go as a young player, the mechanics go away, and I think you can get stubborn because everyone is trying to tell you all the time how to pitch, how to get people out, and then not only do you get frustrated with your inability to win, but pitching coaches, managers, management get frustrated by your inability to pitch well. And you can read it on everyone's face. There's nothing worse than coming to the ballpark and everyone's trying to look the other way because you're just not having any success. And it can wear on a young player.
He only had one good year.
Yeah.
That was in 2004. It wasn't like he put a string of 3 or 2 or 4 years together. I mean, he was started out in San Diego in 2002, was 4-5, and then the next year was 4-7, then traded midseason to Pittsburgh, went 0-3 there, then 12-10, which is a good year, but not a great year, a good ERA.
It's a good year, though, with a bad team, and not only was it a good year.
At age 22.
Yes.
But it was also an extremely amazing year. He struck out 239 batters.
Easily throws out the hustling Diaz for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on. Let's check in with the studio. Baseball Night in New York updated. Matt Yellow.
All right, Gary, Phillies and Marlins, and all kinds of control problems for the Marlins pitchers. 4 walks in the 5th inning leads to the go-ahead run. The Phillies have drawn 9 walks. This game only in the top of the 7th.
Wow.
Do you see who started that game for Florida tonight? Byung-Hyun Kim.
Yeah.
Here's Andrew Jones with 2 out. And Chase Utley hit a home run off Kim in the 1st inning of that game as Tyler Yates gets up before the Braves. And I don't know if you saw last night with Utley and Kevin Olson, the rather emotional Kevin Olson, getting upset at Utley for stepping out on him a couple of times and just started screaming at Utley in the middle of the game.
He's a left-hander.
No, he's a volatile left-hander. I mean, he fights with his own teammates.
He's a little hot-headed. I like him, though. I like his stuff.
Check swing, foul ball. Well, Utley said after the game, he said, a lot of people hate him. Olson.
Well, we saw him fight with his own teammate Miguel Cabrera. To tell you the truth, I thought he was in the right on that one. Cabrera missed the ball down the third base line and did not hustle after it.
Andrew hits one in the air to left, and Gomez coming in. And Oliver Perez rolls through the sixth, gets him out 1-2-3. He might be done with a high pitch count, and the Mets will try and add to their 3-0 lead with Green, Beltran, and Wright coming up. Time to check out our Luggage Express box score. David Wright, 4 home runs in the last 4 games. Duca staying hot, and there's Delgado in that 6 hole for the first time in 10 years, and he's had a good night at the plate. Sean Green up in that 2 hole for the first time in 3 years, and he'll lead off for the Mets as we go to the 7th, facing Peter Moylan, who got the Mets 1-2-3 in the 6th. And Green takes a fastball for ball 1. Sean has walked, singled to center, and grounded out. He's also stolen a base along the way.
Talked to Sean in the clubhouse this morning. His hair is starting to come back. He's relieved.
No one happier than he and his wife.
I'm sure his wife is very pleased.
So you're thinking if the Mets have another mass shave down, he's not participating?
I don't think they're going to have another one.
One shot.
I don't think David Wright envisioned this.
I don't think he planned it at all.
Right.
It just happened.
Prado throws out Green one away. You know, it's all Dave Racaniello's fault anyway.
That's right.
That's bullpen catcher. He's the guy who buzzed Wright in the first place and set the whole thing in motion.
Well, the thing was, Wright just wanted to change it up. He was struggling, trying to, you know, hitters and pitchers were both very superstitious. If things aren't going well, they want to change it up somehow, some way.
Well, it's worked.
Oh, beautifully.
Beltran 0 for 3 tonight. And Carlos takes inside.
Well, you see Moylan, another guy throwing from down under, and he's from down under. But it used to be you might have 1, maybe 2 in the league, right, Keith? Now every team has at least 1 submariner on their staff.
Pulled down to first, and Woodward handles it 2 away. Well, it's by design, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you know, go back to the story of Joe Smith's college coach at Wright State saying, okay, one of you has to become a sidearm.
Yeah.
I just think teams like to have one guy with that look.
Well, I think if it basically comes down to if you're a conventional thrower and you haven't got the good stuff, then you got to come down under and just be a specialist. Because it is difficult no matter what. You're a Laredo guy throwing from Laredo, righty to righty. It's tough, and vice versa, lefty to lefty.
So Wright with the 8 home runs in May, 4 of them in the last 4 games now. And now facing the side-arming righty. This is in the 5th. Mets were up 2-0, and bang.
And it's like the same pitch off of Myers in that Yankee series, down, out over the plate. Changeup. Nice waiting by David.
Foul. 1-1.
It'll be interesting to see how Moylan gets him out, because everything Moylan tries to throw is knee high or lower. I remember years ago as
Good to see we're protected.
Yes.
Feel like I'm in a Jet game.
That's right.
Fastball butts them inside, and it's 3-1.
In the Cape Cod League many years ago, there was a pitcher that pitched for one of the teams that threw overhand from Clemson and also threw Eddie Feiner like softball.
Really?
Yeah, completely softball fast pitch.
Line caught. And Woodward grabs the liner by Wright to end the inning. So Moylan has faced 6 and retired 6, but it's the Mets with a 3-0 lead. Well, tomorrow night, it's those 2 old golfing partners and rotation buddies, John Smoltz and Tom Glavine. They've pitched as teammates, they've pitched as competitors, and now for the 3rd time this year, they're pitching against each other with milestones in mind. Glavine with 295 wins, and Smoltz going for number 200 tomorrow night. And it could well be the rubber game of this series, with the Mets trying to even things up tonight. Neither one of them prefers pitching against the other.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared Saltalamacchia leads off with a base hit to center field. So Perez looking to stretch things out. 107 pitches coming into the inning, and the first pitch he throws in the 7th is a base hit.
Well, they'll be keeping a sharp eye on Perez here in the 7th inning. But he has been brilliant. 3-4 hits now over 6 innings.
Pedro Feliciano, the left-hander, Joe Smith, the right-hander, as Chris Woodward takes the fastball wide. Woodward is lined to center and struck out 0 for 2. Good fastball, and it's 1-1. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
You know, guys, when you talk about the 2 managers of these teams, Chris Woodward's a pretty good guy to ask, and he actually said, you know what, they're both very, very similar, which I actually wouldn't have expected. He said they both really know how to approach and communicate with their players, and they both make it pretty well known who actually runs a team. And he said Cox just expects you to get things done the right way. And I was curious, well, with that being said, how do the young guys always succeed here in Atlanta? Woody said it's simple. He's extremely positive, and obviously, guys, that method works pretty darn well.
They've also got pretty good young talent.
Yes.
That helps. One of those guys, Kelly Johnson, is out on deck to pinch hit, and the slider low and in. It's 2-2 to Woodward. Bobby Cox just 2 wins shy of 2,200 for his career. Recently passed Sparky Anderson in 4th place on the all-time list. Just turned 66 years old the other day.
Boy, is anybody ever going to get Connie Mack?
No. In there for a call, strike 3. Woodward down looking, and that's the 4th strikeout for Perez.
Well, if ever there was a time to make your best backdoor slider, that was it. A little late break, huh, Ronnie?
Late break. That's one of those pitches that you can't really swing at it because you can't hit it. Never is on the plate to the last second.
So now Kelly Johnson will bat for the pitcher Moylan, and did a great job in relief, retiring all 6 to face him to keep his team in the game. Johnson kept out of the lineup against the lefty today, but he winds up facing Perez anyway, because again, as we mentioned earlier, Bobby Cox played all of his right-hand hitters, and so he's got nothing but lefties on the bench.
Well, Perez trying to get just finding out who's going to be covering the bag. Damian Easley told him that Jose Reyes will have the cover on the bag if there's a comebacker to Perez.
Johnson 0 for 4 against Perez, but he has had a terrific year as the Braves' second baseman and leadoff hitter, and takes the slider down low. Braves let Marcus Giles go because they felt as though Johnson could do the job. Fastball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Oscar Villarreal and Tyler Yates, couple of right-handers up in the bullpen for the Braves. Good fastball at 93. Perez letting it all hang out.
Boy, you love when your starting pitcher might be running on a little fumes, and he's able to go back and get just a little extra, throwing 93 miles an hour still here in the 7th inning.
That was his 116th pitch of the night. On 1-2, Johnson takes it for a call, 3rd strike. Back-to-back strikeouts for Perez, 2 men down.
Well, Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire, might have given that pitch to Perez. Might have looked a little outside the Johnson, but with 2 strikes, got to be swinging that bat.
3 straight fastballs on the outside corner, knee high.
Well, Perez didn't have a strikeout the first 3 innings, struck out the side in the 4th, didn't have another strikeout till here in the 7th. And he struck out back-to-back hitters. Now Prado takes outside 1-0. Martin Prado is 0 for 3. 3-0 New York, bottom of the 7th. Popped it up, coming back toward the crowd.
Well, the book on Prado here is just going to be up the ladder, throwing that fastball up in his eyes, and he'll swing.
It's very interesting to see young hitters now. 1-0 count, fastball that's a ball. You need base runners, and you would think, you want to make sure that 119 pitches, make sure that you get on base. You'll take a walk here, but no, free swinging.
We saw that in his last at bat when he had a 9-pitch at bat against Perez. Probably swung at ball 3 or 4 different times.
3 times, absolutely, and a critical part of the game.
With a runner at second base. So Perez up to 120. This will undoubtedly be his last inning, and hopefully right here his last pitch. Ahead 1-2 on Prado. But he misses wide, 2-2.
Well, here's a case like Ronnie said, throw away the pitch count. It looks like Perez is stronger. He's got some giddy up on his fastball.
Might get an extra day before his next start, and that might be a factor too, with Duca coming back probably on Friday night to pitch. Popped it up. Delgado into foul ground.
I got it!
Says he's got it. And he does. Loud and clear. Delgado catches the pop-up, and Oliver Perez with 7 tremendous innings, looking for his 3rd win against the Braves. And he's got 7 shutout innings in the book. Take the train to Shea, May 29th, 30th, and 31st for the 3-game series with the Giants as Barry Bonds chases the home run record. Go to Mets.com today for your tickets. The Mexican right-hander Oscar Villarreal takes over the pitching for the Braves.
Unscored upon in his last 3 outings. Left-handed and right-handed hitters hitting pretty good. Left-handers over 300.
And a red-hot Paul Duca will lead off against him. Duca 2 for 3 tonight, and he gets drilled. Looks like it got him right on the elbow pad, which is a good thing. So Villarreal throws 1 pitch, and Duca's aboard.
That's the 3rd hit batsman in this game. Bobby's not happy with
That hat comes off, you're in trouble.
Looks like a frumpy, grumpy old man.
So here's Delgado. And this time they'll put the shift back on with the right-hander in the game.
And let's watch closely this at-bat against the right-hander. He's had 3 at-bats against lefties. They were excellent. But right-handers, he's been hitting 162. That's where he tends to get out in front. Good balance.
Fouled off the fastball, and it's 0-1. Talking to Delgado before the game tonight, he professed indifference as to where he's hitting in the lineup. He said, whether I'm hitting 1st, 3rd, or 8th, I have to hit. And, he was asked what he's done to try and get himself out of his slump. Has he hit more? Has he hit less? Has he thought more? Has he thought less? He said, I've done everything. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of time to do everything there is.
Well, it's like teams that have gotten off to a slow start. They don't care who they face. They just got to get wins. He just needs to get hits.
Line drive caught by Renteria, and no throw. Right into the shift, but he hit it hard again. 1 out and 1 on. Time for a baseball night in New York update. Let's go to the studio with Matt Yaloff.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. Angels and Tigers, and no shift will take care of this. Maglio Ordonez, couple of home runs in the game. The Tigers lead the Angels right now 8-6. This game in the bottom of the 8th.
All right, Matt, and Damian Easley comes to bat with 1 out and 1 on. Mets with a 3-0 lead as they bat in the 8th. Damian is 1 for 3 tonight. Facing the right-hander Oscar Villarreal, and he takes a strike.
Well, a 4th excellent at bat. That's a sinker. He's still a little out in front, but much better balance. He just has to bring it back a split second, and that's the difference. But he's made big strides tonight.
Well, you talked about him having to hit the top half of the ball. And it seems like he's done that now.
Now, a split second, that ball, instead of him hooking it a little bit, it's a base it up the middle.
Base it up the middle, bullet up the middle, or he's not looking to go the opposite field. Well, he does that with 2 strikes, Delgado. But that's the thing. I think when you slump, even though you're a power hitter like Delgado, take that double to left center field and get it back. And then once you feel you're back in the groove, then go to your power.
But here's the thing. Ronnie was talking about being in a position where you just need hits. Now, he's gotten a couple of hits today, but are the at-bats where he's made outs, the 2 hard outs, almost as important to him?
Yes. When you hit, you as the hitter know you can go 4 for 4 in a slump and hit 4 bleeders, and you feel terrible, you know you made no progress. You can go 0 for 4 and hit 4 bullets, and you know you're on your way.
1-2 to Easley. He gets drilled. Second batter in the inning that Villarreal has hit.
Well, okay, we're even now. Each side's got 2 hits batsmen. This just gets away from him.
Right off the hip.
That ball is supposed to be a fastball away, so he misses his target by about 4 feet.
Well, Villarreal coming into this game had hit 1 batter this season. He's now hit 2 in the course of a 3-batter sequence. Roger McDowell out at the mound talking to Villarreal as Carlos Gomez gets set to step in.
Well, Carlos has got a chance here to really break this game open for the Mets.
Let's see, you got Villarreal and Salto Lamacchia. Is that the longest battery in history?
That's a very good point.
Oh, wow.
You know the previous record for most letters in a last name, as you look at McKay McBride, the lefty, and Joey Devine, the righty, was William Van Landingham, who had 13 letters in his last name. And when Van Landingham was coming up in the Giants organization, they had a catcher named Eric Christofferson, who actually had 14 letters in his last name but never made it to the big leagues. And they often were a battery. That's a 27-letter battery. That's a lot of power.
That's right.
In that battery. Just meaningless trivia.
The minister of useless information.
Department. Gomez lifts one along the left field line. A long run for Diaz right near the line. It's a foul ball. He wasn't going to get there. Gomez almost dropped it in the right spot.
Well, this has got a lot of hang time, and Diaz doesn't cover a lot of ground out there. He's an offensive guy.
Yeah.
Gomez tonight has driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. That was in the 4th. Otherwise 0 for 2. Getting the start against the left-hander tonight. Chops that one, and it goes foul. 0-2.
Every team is pitching him the same way. As you see Joe Smith warming up. Looks like he'll have the 8th inning. Every team pitching Gomez in tight, trying to tie him up. They get ahead. They throw one about neck or head high. See if he'll chase it out of the strike zone.
Well, the rule on rookies is you find out they hit number 1.
Yes.
Well, he's got a few more days to get some big league time before Moises Alou comes off the disabled list. And the slider on the inside corner gets him. First strikeout for Villarreal, 2 away.
Well, we're talking about the backup slider, and look at the catcher set up away. That is not intentional.
He hasn't done much that's intentional so far, has he?
No.
Unless there was a lot of evil intent out there. Andy Chavez will now bat for Oliver Perez, who leaves after 7 shutout innings and in line to go 3-0 against the Braves this year. And how badly have the Mets needed that?
Jeez.
With all their other struggles against Atlanta. Andy started in left field last night with 0 for 3. 2 out and 2 on. We're talking about Alou. He'll probably be ready to come off the disabled list when he's eligible on Tuesday. And talked to Willie Randolph about Gomez, and he has no interest in keeping Gomez around if he's not going to play. And he said with Chavez as your 4th outfielder, it's almost impossible to find Gomez enough at bats to keep him. The changeup has Chavez out in front, 1-1.
Yeah, they needed a great effort as you see this changeup from Villarreal. Not even close by Endy. They needed this effort tonight from Oliver Perez. But look at the games he's put together. He took a shutout into the 9th against the Brewers. He pitched a fantastic game after starting slow against the Yankees, 7 2/3 innings, and 7 shutout innings tonight.
And that's 3 of the best offensive teams in baseball.
Yes.
So a guy who has had ace stuff all of a sudden is starting to pitch like one.
He's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's been too consistent. Now, you got a whole season left. But right now, if you're a Met fan, I think if you're the coaching staff down there, you got to be feeling pretty good about Oliver Perez.
3-1 now to Chavez as Villarreal again has no idea where it's going.
Sometimes you can be effectively wild, and that's what Villarreal is doing right now. All over the place, and every once in a while he throws a strike.
Well, he wants to get Chavez here. You don't want to give a free pass and load the bases for Jose Reyes.
So Endy should see a pitch to hit here if Villarreal can manage one.
Exactly.
He fouls it away. 3-2. Duca, who's been on base all night, is at second, easily at first with 2 outs, so they'll be running with 3-2 on Chavez. Andy hitting at .354. And he takes the changeup high. How about that pitch selection with Reyes on deck? And now the bases are loaded.
Where do you leave him in?
Well, he did get Endy to swing at a changeup earlier in the at bat, but hard to think of Villarreal as being able to throw a 3-2 changeup when he has hit 2 batters with his fastball. And the sign of exasperation for Bobby Cox, hat off.
He's not scratching the head.
Look for a sinker right now, away. Don't let him get a strike on you with a fastball.
Reyes is hitless in his last 12 at bats, but he walked twice last night and twice more tonight. And he takes it low.
And that was a breaking ball run?
I think it's changeup. I think Villarreal is a fastball changeup pitcher.
So all the better as a hitter. He misses with a changeup. You're 1-0, bases loaded. Boy, you just sit on a fastball here.
Fouled it off.
Got it too.
Yep. And you know what? In this situation, Gary, it's a base hit breaks the game open. Don't try to hit the grand slam here.
Reyes has been a little off the last few days.
Yes, he has.
Been a little eager up there.
It's hard. In the course of a season, the great hitters go in slumps or have little tailspins.
1-1 to Jose. Whacks it foul. And now Villarreal ahead 1-2. Duca at third, easily at second, and Chavez at first with 2 down. Mets trying to add to their 3-0 lead here in the 8th. Mets stranded 6 runners in the first 5 innings. Sean Green on deck. 1-2 to Reyes. Tapped foul. Last time up with 2 out and nobody on, Reyes tried to bunt his way on. I'll tell you maybe that he's a little frustrated right now.
Yeah, just scratch out a hit with a couple of walks makes it a successful night.
It's nice to have that weapon.
Yes.
Joe Smith getting ready to pitch the bottom of the 8th after Oliver Perez shut the Braves out for the first 7. And Reyes swings and misses, and Villarreal strikes him out to end the inning. So Villarreal hits 2 and walks 1 and works his way out of it. Mets have a 3-0 lead going to the bottom of the 8th with the big boys coming up. Joe Smith comes on to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning in relief of Oliver Perez, who's standing by with Kevin Burkhardt.
Oliver, you know, I don't know what it is about this Brave team, but you've pitched against them 3 times. You've allowed a total of 3 runs. What is it about this team that allows you to be so successful?
Yeah, I just trying to make pitch, trying to be down the zone and trying to don't overthrow it. Just be consistent and get out the inning.
You take more pride going against them, knowing that this is the Mets' big rival, knowing how important these games are?
No, I just compete every time. I just trying to do everything I can and trying to help the team.
Talk about the game, a couple key spots. In the 3rd inning, you got Diaz there, and then the 5th inning at a big spot, you got Chipper Jones. Are those both on changeups?
Yeah, you just got to be consistent there. Like throw changeup and I just trying to be down the zone because you miss the ball. They can hit hard because they have power, and that was the key for today.
You know, your last few starts, you have gone very deep into the ball game. Have you just been getting stronger? Has there been something that you've done a little bit differently to allow you to go that deep into the games?
I think the key is I change the speed. I don't try to overthrow it, and we do a really good job, Duca and Castro, and everything is good right now.
You know, you just seem so comfortable and so confident. What has coming to the Mets done for your career?
Yeah, I think the key, like you say, I feel really comfortable when I pitch in, and I just have fun in the game and just enjoy.
Will you go back and watch the rest on TV, or will you just can you bear to watch at this point, or no?
No, I'm gonna do exercise right now.
All right, Oliver, congratulations, great job.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kevin, and thanks very much to Oliver. The SNY Sights and Sounds of the game presented by Hummer like nothing else. And Edgar Renteria swinging at the sinker from Joe Smith, and it's 0-2.
You know, he must have said it 3 or 4 times. He was trying to stay down in the zone, whether it was his fastball or his changeup. That's something he probably never thought about in his career. And the second thing is when Oliver Perez in the past, if you wanted to see how well he pitched, you didn't have to look at the innings, the hits, the runs. You could just look at the strikeouts. If he had 10 strikeouts or more, he had a great game. Today, only 5. Well, only 5 in 7 innings. That's still great. But now he is a pitcher. He doesn't have to strike out people to get people out, and that's a great sign.
And Renteria strikes out on the slider. Smith, who had not thrown a pitch in 5 days, gets Renteria on 3 pitches, 1 down.
Great pitch here by Joe Smith. The slide ball that when it comes out, you can see that it stays in that one position and then just takes that left turn. That is a great pitch from Smith, but he does a great job of throwing that sinker down and into the right-handers to set that up.
So Chipper Jones comes up with the bases empty.
I think the profound statement from Perez was I tried to change speeds.
Yeah.
I think the Perez of the past, when he gets in trouble, would overthrow. Like you said, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Now he's taking his time, and you got some changes.
Andy Chavez in right field.
And I think a lot of it has to do with this man right there.
What I found fascinating is him saying that by changing speeds more, now he's able to pitch deeper into games.
Yes.
Did you find that as a pitcher, if you threw fewer fastballs, you could last longer?
Well, it just depends. When he used to throw his fastball in the past, it was like a Billy Wagner or a relief pitcher fastball where you'd rear back and fire. Now it seems like instead of throwing 95, he's throwing 91 and trying to throw it to the corners, so he's not overexerting himself. So it's that with the fastball, mixing the other pitches in. And what's great, I love seeing this. Guy starts out with his fastball slider. Middle of the game, he mixes up some changeups. And then when he gets deeper in the game, trying to finish the game, do what Oliver Perez did tonight. He went back to that fastball and got a little extra.
Jeff Francoeur waiting on deck. 2-2 to Chipper with 1 out. Struck him out. Joe Smith with back-to-back strikeouts of Renteria and Jones, 2 away.
Well, they have not seen him a lot, so when you see that, Joe Smith not only has the fastball, he has the slider, and then that circle change that he throws from down under that makes those hitters shake their heads. That's 3 weapons by a rookie pitcher who can throw them all for strikes.
The last time we saw Joe was Friday night. He was brought in a big spot to strike out Derek Jeter. And now he struck out Edgar Renteria and Chipper Jones to start this 8th inning. Now Frank Kurt takes the fastball inside.
He is the real deal. Joe Smith can't say enough about him. I think just the ability to, Feliciano here in the bullpen, his ability to come in crucial situations, and he throws strikes. And you can tell if a young pitcher has fear. It's so easy to tell for the players on the field. He has no fear.
Well, he had the one little blip,
yep,
and he bounced back, and it's like nothing happened. And
gave up that salami to Hardy, right?
Oh, he's very sharp tonight.
Well, he was being so heavily used the first 3-4 weeks of the season. Now he's had a few days between outings to breathe. Frank Kerr lays off, and it's 3-1.
And it's not meant as a slight to Aaron Heilman, but as the bullpen starts to figure itself out as the season goes along, Joe Smith is your man in the 8th.
More and more. Frank Kerr chops one to Easley, plays the long hop, and it's a 1-2-3 inning, a dominant one for Joe Smith. Braves are down. We go to the 9th, 3-0 New York. After the final out is made, stay tuned for Nissan Post-Game Live on SNY, presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? Time to check out the Toyota scoreboard. And there it is. Ryan Church, couple of home runs for the Nationals tonight. The Phillies lead the Marlins. Chase Utley, a first inning home run off Byung-Hyun Kim. Cardinals have gotten home runs from David Eckstein, Jim Edmonds, and Chris Duncan, and lead the Pirates. Sean Marshall brought up to start for the Cubs tonight against David Wells and the Padres. Brewers and Dodgers. Dodgers lead down to a half game over San Diego in the West. Brad Penny's 5-1. He'll go tonight. And Barry Zito pitches for the Giants against Houston, as the former Met Tyler Yates takes over the pitching for Atlanta.
Well, Yates has done a nice job for the Braves so far this year. Unscored upon in his last 7 outings. You can see that batting average really handles the right-handers with that 149 average against.
David Newhan will bat for Joe Smith, leading off in the 9th. And what a job by Smith tonight.
Wow.
Newhan hitting at 179. And takes ball 1 from Yates.
Well, that San Diego team, Gary, they're leading the league in ERA.
Yeah.
Team pitching, that ERA is close to getting under 3.07.
I was just talking to Ronnie about this between innings. You know, Oliver Perez and Jake Peavy came up in the Padres system right about the same time. And right now, they're both pitching about as well as anybody in the league.
Oliver Perez has, you don't want to say it in jinx, he has Cy Young kind of stuff. He's the kind of guy that can go out there and win 18+ ball games. Take a look at Billy Wagner.
It's got no hit stuff.
No hit stuff. You're right about that.
Now, you can't say that. He's a Met.
Oh, that's, yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, close to it.
That's right.
Someday, maybe. And it's 3-1 to Newhan, leading off in the 9th, as the Mets look for some breathing room.
Keith, you're talking about that San Diego pitching. Their relievers are 2.19, so even stingier as the game goes along. And that 8th inning has become so important. What a job by Smith.
There's a strike, 3-2. Well, they've got some young pitchers in that Padres bullpen, like Clay Meredith, who they got last year. And
Linebrink, who everyone wanted this winter.
Who's the rookie? The rookie they got this year who's retired like 30 batters in a row. They just seem to come up with those guys. And Newhan takes a call, 3rd strike. Yates down. Gets him looking. 1 away.
Oh, it's a 3-2 fastball. Let's take a. Ooh, that's a strike.
So 1 away, and now Beltran. Carlos has gone 0 for 4 tonight. Just can't seem to get himself started. Had a couple of hits last night.
His average has got down below 300. It's interesting in the course of a season, the ups and downs.
Beltran grounds one weakly. Prado's got it. And there are 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on. It'll bring up David Wright. Time now for the Panasonic Plasma replay. Panasonic for the speed of sports, and this was in the 5th inning.
Well, you said it, Keith, just like the pitches from Myers of the Yankees, Mike Myers. This just driven out of the ballpark by Wright, who I think always handles the pitch up a little better than the pitch down, but not so far in the last week.
He's got a little bit more of that power stroke, which is going to make him a better low ball hitter. He's got a little bit of the uppercut.
David 1 for 4 tonight. Last time up, he scorched a line drive to first base that Woodward caught. By the way, the kid for San Diego was thinking of Kevin Cameron. 16 in the 3rd innings, no runs, 6 hits, 15 strikeouts.
Jeez, he's their Joe Smith.
He also has 15 walks, but
who's counting?
That's exactly right. But that bullpen's just tremendous.
Interesting numbers on David Wright with 2 strikes this year, hitting 139 with 2 strikes. Career coming into this season, he was 259.
Tries to hold. He went around, strike 3. So a 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Yates. And Billy Wagner will get the save opportunity. He's 10 for 10 this year.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mats and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mats.
In 2007, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York will make a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, please go to www.hopeandheroes.org. Billy Wagner trying to make it 11 saves in 11 tries.
Well, what can you say about Billy Wagner? He has changed his style a little, but he still has 20 strikeouts in 19 innings, so still striking out batters, but trying to do it in a more efficient manner.
I think he's becoming more of a pitcher, throwing the slider more, not overthrowing.
Matt Diaz leads off in the last of the 9th. And Wagner's fastball is upstairs. Well, Billy has said he's consciously taken a couple of miles an hour off his fastball to increase his command.
Well, I think you buy into the hype. Billy, when he was getting all those saves with Houston, part of the reason is they came to watch him strike out hitters. And now he realizes that he's with a team here where the wins are so important that he can be more efficient by just keeping the ball down, although 2-0 here to Diaz.
Diaz 0 for 3 tonight. And Billy misses with a fastball, and it's 3-0. Wagner saved Perez's win against the Yankees on Friday night, then had a little adventure in a non-save situation, came into that ugly 10-6 game on Saturday, made the throwing error to the plate when he got a little confused and finally pitched his way out of it with a couple of strikeouts. And he gets a strike. Ted Barrett calling Diaz back.
You know, at the basketball games, when they take the fans and they spin them, they have the helmets on, they spin them around and around and around, and they don't know where they're going. That's what Billy looked like on that play. Back to him.
The thing is, he had an easy out at first base if he just thrown it there. Fouls it off. 97 on that fastball. Wow. Haven't seen a lot of that lately. It's 3-2.
Well, a good fastball hitter and a power. Oh, I got the umpire in the shoulder there, like the bicep almost.
He never flinched. Kudos to Ted Barrett.
Tough Ted. 3-2 to Diaz. Fouled away. Braves have had only 1 hit since the 3rd inning. That's how dominant Met pitching has been tonight. Perez for 7, and then Smith with a 1-2-3/8. and Chavez toward the line. One away. What a benefit in the late innings having Gomez, Beltran, and Chavez in that outfield. Tonight on Geico Sports Night after Nissan Postgame Live, Roger Clemens makes his second tune-up start in the minors. Yankees beating the Red Sox tonight. We'll have reaction from the Mets clubhouse after this one. All tonight on Geico Sports Night after Nissan Postgame Live. Here's Andrew Jones, 0 for 2 tonight, and he takes a strike. Billy's staying all fastballs.
Threw over 100 pitches in that start. Clemens looks like he's going to be ready to start against Toronto, I believe, next week.
It's awfully quick, isn't it?
Wow.
Off-speed pitch from Wagner, and it's 0-2.
There's that slider.
Oh, good pitch here by Wagner. That ball went straight down.
Pulled foul. Well, the first two times the Mets and Braves got together, here in early April and then Shea later in April, they split the first two games, and each time the Braves took the rubber game. If there's a rubber game tomorrow, it's Glavine and Smoltz. 1-2 to Andrew.
Wagner's throwing hard tonight. He's throwing hard.
Well, he hasn't pitched since Saturday, so he's had a few days off. And he's feeling strong. All the way through LaDuca. It's 2-2.
I've always liked that Mets logo on the shoulder of the uniform.
Yeah, you like that there?
I always did.
On the traditional black uniforms.
It even looks good. It looks good on the traditional black uniform.
And he bounces that slider, and it's 3-2.
There it is. Let me. Billy's not cooperating.
He's trying to get a save here.
You're focusing on fashion, and he's got business going. In there for a call, strike 3. Andrew Jones down looking, 2 away.
Well, I don't know if why could Andrew be possibly looking for a breaking ball on a power pitcher like that?
No, he wasn't, but that just tells you how he's struggling. He's just not seeing it. Never see Andrew Jones take a fastball.
The Braves have only been shut out twice this year. Mets are looking for their third shutout victory. 2 out and nobody on, and Jared Saltalamacchia, who has one of their 4 hits. And he lines one to left center for a base hit. Toward the gap, and Gomez gets over to cut it off, holding Saltalamacchia to his second single of the night. So there's the 5th Atlanta hit.
Well, nice level cut here by Saltalamacchia. High fastball out over the plate. Look at the level swing. Beautiful.
Boy, just another good young Atlanta player. Let's keep producing him.
And you're talking about Ronnie and Gary about Andrew Jones's woes. That was his 53rd strikeout. We're not even out of May.
That's the most this side of Adam Dunn. As Woodward takes a strike. Woody is 0 for 3, is lined to center and struck out twice. Wagner trying to put a capper on this one. And the slider misses. 1-1.
It's 175 or so, isn't it? In the course of a season.
53 strikeouts.
This is the guy you want to get if you're Wagner, because Brian McCann has come out on deck to pinch hit. Fouled off the fists, and now the Braves are down to their final strike.
Well, that would tell me as a pitcher right there that Woody's having trouble catching up to that fastball. Another one out of the strike zone, maybe up in the strike zone, should do the trick.
For a call, strike 3, and the ball game is over. Billy Wagner makes it 11 saves in 11 tries as he saves it for Oliver Perez, who was brilliant against the Braves again tonight. The Mets have split the first 2 games of this series. They have 3 wins against Atlanta this year, and Oliver Perez has every one of them.
Well, now his last 3 starts, 23 innings, only 3 runs against 3 of the toughest lineups in baseball. What can you say tomorrow with the series split? Glavine tries to get the best of his buddy John Smoltz.
And from an offensive standpoint from the Mets, for the Mets, Delgado having 5 at-bats today, 2 for 5, but 5 quality at-bats. A very good sign. Him, of course, put in the 6th spot in the lineup for the first time as a Met, and the first time this year, obviously. So there's the final numbers, Gary.
Oliver Perez now 6-3 with a 2.54 ERA. He is pitching like an ace right now. Chuck James took the loss. Wagner continues perfect in save chances as the Mets post their 3rd shutout victory of the season and go back to 2.5 games in front of Atlanta. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Nissan and the next generation Nissan Altima. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Kia, the presenting sponsor of the Kia Wednesday Game of the Week. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? Once again, our final score tonight here in Atlanta, the Mets 3 and the Braves nothing. Be sure to join us tomorrow night for the rubber game of this series at 7:30 as the Mets and Braves get together and Glavine and Smoltz do battle for the 3rd time this year, with Glavine looking for win number 296 and Smoltz trying for his milestone 200th. Coming up next, it's Nissan post-game live with Matt Yaloff and Lee Mazzilli. Oliver Perez, the man of the night again, as the Mets revved it up behind Perez, gave up a couple of hits in the first inning, and then shut the Braves down the rest of the way. Sean Green contributed some defense. Carlos Delgado got active tonight with a couple of hits down in the 6th spot, and David Wright stayed hot with his 4th home run in the last 4 games. But Perez, the story as the Mets win it. For Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez, and Kevin Burkhardt, I'm Gary Cohen saying good night from Atlanta.
This is Nissan Post Game Live. We're coming to you from the SNY studios in Midtown Manhattan with Maz. Matt, the Mets have won 5 straight series. They now have a chance to make it 6 straight with a win tomorrow.
Yeah, and you know what? Tonight was a big win. You lost the game against the Yankees. You lost your first game against the Atlanta Braves, and you don't want the Braves thinking that you could be swept at their ballpark. So tonight was a good win for the Mets. Now the Mets tomorrow can take the series again.
They still have not lost 3 straight games this season. Red Sox and Mets, the only 2 teams, when you do not lose extended streaks, so you don't lose game after game after game, what happens by the end of the year?
Well, you win the pennant.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it, and that's why the Red Sox are in first and the Mets are in first. You want to try to stay away from those extended, prolonged losing streaks of 6, 7, 8 games. Right now, the Mets are doing it, and the Red Sox are doing it as well, and that's why they're in first place.
All right, Carlos Delgado tonight batting 6th in the Mets order. First time in 10 years he's been that low, Maz. Second at bat. Walk us through it.
Oh, watch. There's a changeup right there, fastball right here, second pitch, third pitch, fastball, another changeup, curveball away. He stays back, fastball hits the ball the other way. So what he's doing is he's really staying back. And he said the thing was for him that he needed to get his front foot down quick and first. He was gliding too much. So now he's getting his front foot down. He's staying back a little bit and going the other way. They were pitching him away all night. And for me, I couldn't understand is that pitching him away in a defense.
Yeah, they were shifted.
They were shifted. Well, Carlos Delgado took advantage of that. He had good at-bats, then he had 4 good at-bats, and then one at-bat that he lined out, one at-bat, and his other at-bat he had a man on second base, and he got the guy over, grounding out to the right side of the infield. So I think Carlos had 4 good at-bats tonight. There was, like Willie did, he took the pressure off him, dropped him in the 6th spot, give him another day to go forward.
All right, we talked to Keith and Ron now. They chime in from Turner Field. Keith, so much when a guy's in a slump, you guys talk, everybody who played baseball talks about the importance of going the other way when you're trying to bust out. Why? What is the significance of that?
Well, I think, Matt, I just know everybody slumps, they get out in front. And no matter what you do in batting practice, you try to bring it back, and you're hitting the ball here instead of here on the outside pitch. And the outside corner looks like it's 3rd and long in football. So I can't put a finger on it why you work, you go into an extended slump like Delgado, my goodness, for a month and a half, and all of a sudden you hit that ball away and you go, there it is, and you're back in your groove. Now, I think the left-hander was good for him. I think the move down into the 6th position was good, took the pressure off of him, got him out of that cleanup role. I thought every at-bat got better and better and hit the ball more up at the plate. So we'll see tomorrow. This is one game, but I know Carlos Delgado right now is going home on that bus tonight, and he's going to go to bed feeling pretty good about his at-bats.
Ronnie, I look at that Perez tonight, and he threw 120-something pitches with 7 innings. To me, it didn't look like he had his best stuff or his, real good breaking ball. But is he learning how to pitch now and not throw? Because without your best stuff, now you're winning ball games.
Yeah, I don't know, Mazzo, if he's learning. I think he's learned. It's just he is so dependable out there. He's changing speed. He has an idea what he's trying to do instead of just bury hitters and strike them out. He's economical with his pitches. Yeah, he threw 126, but he was just as strong at the end as he was in the beginning of the game. And I just love the way that not only did he have his good fastball up in the strike zone, good slider, especially the one he threw back toward the righties, but he got 2 big outs on changeups. So, I mean, now he has 3 pitches he can throw over for strikes. If he doesn't sway from the way he's pitching right now, he's going to have a huge year.
How big influence is Tom Glavine? Because when you get in trouble, one thing he does, he goes soft, and that's what Perez looks like he's doing.
Yeah, I think anytime you're on a team with a guy like Tom Glavine and you just watch the games and you watch how he pitches, not only does he go soft, but in crucial situations, Tommy just competes. He doesn't get frazzled. He doesn't try to throw harder. He doesn't get out of his game plan, sticks to his game plan. And I think that's what Perez has had to do. And also give a lot of credit, I think, to Paul LaDuca. Paul LaDuca calls a lot of fastballs in, which Perez has to do to set up that slider. Tonight couldn't have been scripted any better. Perez with this great start, 7 shutout innings. Joe Smith comes in and really dominates that 8th inning. And then Billy Wagner, 11 for 11 and saves now. So couldn't have been scripted any better.
Yeah, Ron, thanks for the segue to Keith, by the way, on LaDuca. But the offensive side of things, Keith, what is it about LaDuca that allows him to excel in many different spots? The 2 spot, the 7 spot. Tonight in the 5 hole, another 2 hits. Is it his approach?
Well, he's a line drive hitter, and I think Lee from '86, he reminds me a lot of Ray Knight. Ray Knight was a line drive hitter. He hit 7th in our order. He was so critical to our ball club, but he was not a power hitter. He was a line drive hitter, a tough strikeout, hit the ball where it's pitched. LaDuca does this too. He's a good hit and run guy. When he hits second, I think he's going to eventually, when Alou gets back, he's going to go back in that 2 hole, I believe. I think he'll, at least that's my feeling. But he goes the other way naturally. He's a level hitter, line drive hitter. He knows that he's not a power hitter. He's a veteran, and he can roll hit. He can hit the ball the other way, advance the runner. He's a good clutch hitter. The only thing he doesn't bring is he doesn't have speed. That's the only negative, and I'll tell you what, I'll take that negative.
Yeah, all right. And Ron, tomorrow this series wraps up. I guess we've seen it now, 15 times this year, Smoltz and Glavine. It seems that way. A couple of guys on the way to the Hall of Fame. What can we look for other than just enjoying this matchup again?
Well, we're going to enjoy it as fans, but they won't enjoy it. Those 2 tough competitors, they're out there not to tear each other's throats out, but just short of that because they want to get that win. It's a crucial win for both teams. The Braves want to pull, don't want to get back to where they started before they came here. I think that Tom Glavine wants to inch closer, of course, to 300. He wants to get that out of the way as soon as possible. And there's a couple of games he's pitched this year where he's been unfortunate that he's had no decisions. So both pitchers tomorrow, they'll be friendly and all those things maybe before the game, but when the game starts, they'll be as competitive as they've always been. Of course, Smoltz going for his 200th, and Tommy making his way to 300.
Unbelievable. Almost 500 wins between these guys. All right, Keith and Ron at Turner Field. We'll see you again tomorrow for Game 3 of this Mets-Braves series at Turner Field. All right, Maz, so that is the deal on...
You better get your hot dogs and soda real quick tomorrow.
Yeah, well, he's right out there.
Because the game's going to be real quick.
We're in a good spot because the guy's on the corner. Nissan Postgame Live is presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? When we come back, you will see highlights from this game. Maz and I go inside the game. Oliver Perez, Carlos Delgado, and Sean Green flashing a little leather. You're watching Nissan Postgame Live.
Watch for the New York Community Family of Banks Mets save of the game following every close Mets win this season. Brought to you by NYCB Family of Banks. New Yorkers have been saving with them for nearly 150 years. The Geico Sports Night, 6 p.m., 10 p.m., and 1 a.m. every night on Sportsnet New York.
We're going inside the game on Nissan Postgame Live. The Mets and the Braves and lefty Chuck James getting the start for Atlanta. New York comes in leading the majors against lefties with a .332 average. Top of the first, Sean Green batting second in the order, walks on 4 pitches. Carlos Beltran next. First pitch swinging, flies out to center. That's 2 outs. David Wright next. Batting cleanup. Pops out in a 2-0 count. The Mets go down in the top of the first. Chuck James, good work. Bottom of the first, Oliver Perez on the mound. And look at this. Ted Barrett says, get rid of the gold. Take off the gold chain and see if you can give it a go. Edgar Renteria shoots it to right field with a single. Chipper Jones is next. Chipper Jones, always the pro, to left field, ends up with a single. Renteria to second. After a Jeff Francoeur flyout, Perez gets Matt Diaz to ground out to second. No score after 1 inning. Remember, Perez has beaten the Braves twice going into this game. Top of the second with 1 out, Carlos Delgado hitting 6th in the order, the lowest he's batted since 1997. The shot to short gets past Chipper Jones, who is playing short because of that shift. Can't handle it. It's a single. The Mets don't bring him in. In the third, Chuck James walks Jose Reyes, and Green smokes it to center field past Martin Prado. Reyes advances to second. Had to hold up there. So 2 on, 1 out for Carlos Beltran. A 2-2 count. The Mets are running. Prado can't come up with it. Reyes comes in. It's 1-0 Mets. Prado charged with the error. Beltran then swinging on the changeup. You got 2 outs. David Wright comes up next with a man on third. Center field, fly ball. Andrew Jones is there. And Sean Green is stranded at third. The Mets still up 1-0. Bottom third. Chuck James reach out and touch somebody. The ball is away and he takes advantage. Drops it into left field. Martin Prado is next. Perez, the slider in the dirt. James moves on to second base. So the pitcher is heads up. Then it's Prado. The fly ball to right field. Sean Green laying out in foul territory, Maz.
Oh, that's a great play because, you know, when you go to the foul line, you just don't know how close you are to the wall. And to make a dive like that on a track, pretty good play by Sean Green.
On the away park, too. He doesn't play there all that often. I guess he's been there a number of times. Edgar Renteria is next, and he walks. Then with Chipper Jones at the plate, Renteria taken off for second. Paul Duca's throw is good. Renteria is in. So it's second and third. Jones then lines to Delgado, who's off the bag because Renteria stole, and it winds up just playing into the Mets' hands. That pitch gets away. Bases are loaded. Actually hit Francoeur. Matt Diaz up next. Perez flies out to Green. So after all that, the Braves get nothing. Top of the fourth, Paul Duca leading off. The single to right field. Mets' third hit of the game. Delgado next. Again with the shift. Through the left side. LaDuca to second, 2 on. Nobody out for Damian Easley. Easley now, 0-2 pitch. The single to left. They hold the runner. Bases are loaded for Carlos Gomez. Carlos Gomez gets it done. Productive out. Fly ball. LaDuca tags. LaDuca in. 2-0 Mets. Perez next. Lays it down with 2 strikes. Both runners advance after an intentional walk to Reyes. Sean Green comes up, and Sean Green grounds out to end the inning. The Mets still up 2-0. Bottom fourth, Perez cruising. Andrew Jones. Jared Saltalamacchia swinging. And then Perez gets Chris Woodward to end the inning. Perez strikes out the side. Top of the fifth, David Wright getting big. His 8th home run of the year. The Mets go up 3-0, Matt.
Well, if you look at this as a changeup, look how he stayed back and went down and got the ball. That's just a good piece of hitting by David Wright.
David Wright is locked in. He is on fire in May in the power department. To the bottom of the 7th, the Mets with a 3-0 lead. Perez still in. The pitch count well over 100. Saltalamacchia leading off. Single to center field. Chris Woodward is next. Frozen, first out. And then Kelly Johnson, a pinch hitter, didn't start. Frozen, 2 outs. Prado follows with a pop-up to Carlos Delgado. So through 7 innings, no runs, just 4 hits, 5 strikeouts for Oliver Perez. Bottom of the 8th, Joe Smith is in. A 1.45 ERA. Edgar Renteria swinging through the slider. Chipper Jones. 1-2-3 8th for Joe Smith. 9th inning. It's in the hands of Billy Wagner. In to close it out. He's looking for his 11th save in 11 tries. falls behind Diaz 3-0, but comes out to get him. Then Andrew Jones, just, you know what, he looks lost, and Saltalamacchia follows with a single, so the Braves are still alive, but barely. Wagner against Chris Woodward, frozen with a fastball, 93 miles an hour. The Mets take it by a score of 3-0. So the 3 wins against the Braves this year have all been pitched and won by Oliver Perez. And the Mets, as you mentioned early in the show, still have not lost 3 games in a row. As far as the starters for the Mets are concerned, Paul Duca, hitting in the 5th spot, has 9 multi-hit games in his last 18 games. So Duca is on fire. He's in the 7th, he's in the 5th, he still gets it done. Sean Green, batting 2nd in the order for the first time this year, 1 for 3 with a walk. The Braves side of things, Martin Prado on the top. This is big. Kelly Johnson usually plays. Prado goes 0 for 4. And the starting outfield for the Braves, a combined 0 for 10. Now, both teams combined to get hit by 4 pitches in this game. The Mets got hit by 2. The Braves got hit by 2. Any of these 4, any intent?
No, not at all. And you go, all the time you had guys on base, and it was a 3-2 count. And if you looked at Bobby Cox's expression, he's saying, what are you doing out there? So,
right.
No, I don't think they're trying to hit anyone.
All right, so we shouldn't look for anything tomorrow as far as any kind of carryover from today.
No.
If there is a carryover that the Mets want, it's in the category of pitching overall, because the pitching line, extremely clean. This is what you want. As a manager, Maz, you kick back in the office with your feet up and you light up a stogie when you look at this? Is that what you're doing?
Nice feeling. Nice feeling.
It is. Look at that. Perez, beautiful. Joe Smith, great. And Billy Wagner, perfect, 11 for 11. You know what? We talk about this every week or so. He said less drama. I asked him the other day, what's the deal? He said, different season, much more comfortable. Today's Save of the Game is brought to you by the Queens County Savings Bank, member of the NYCB family of banks. That's it. Billy Wagner locks it down. Chris Woodward is the guy at the plate, the former Met, former teammate, Billy Wagner. Tell me about Billy Wagner and when a manager knows that a save is in the bag and the closer is good to go. You were with Joe Torre for years. You guys had that when you were the Yankees.
Well, it's the other way around. I think it's when the manager calls for the closer and you have that feeling, then you know the game is over. If you're picking up that phone to call the bullpen and you're not sure that he can close the game out, you don't have the closer.
Interesting.
You know, and on the other side of town, I know when Joe Torre picked that phone up, that game was over.
The game was over.
And I think Willie has that feeling right now with Wagner.
Yeah,
too.
he's certainly locked in. I mean, there is literally, there's nothing, there's no antics, there's no mystery.
No, but the thing is, like tonight, you have Joe Smith, who's done a great job for the Mets all year, and you put him with Heilman and then Feliciano. You know, that gives you a point in the game where, you know what, if we don't beat the Mets in 7 innings, chances are we're not going to win. So the bullpen's doing a good job right now.
Shortened game. We are still awaiting Willie Randolph's comments following tonight's shutout win in Atlanta. Maz and I return on Nissan Postgame Live. Geico Sports Night follows. We'll have a preview when we come back. Nissan Postgame Live continues in a moment. You'll hear from Oliver Perez, but first you hear from Brian Custer. He has a preview of what's coming up on Geico Sports Night following this program. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Matty. Thank you very much. And, of course, all the latest baseball highlights coming your way. Plus, you'll hear from Roger Clemens after his start in Trenton tonight. We'll also have the latest on the whole Jason Giambi controversy. Did he or didn't he fail a drug test? We'll clear that up for you. And all the latest news from around the NFL. Our NFL insider, Adam Shine, will join us to give us all the details. Plus that and a whole lot more when Chris Cotter joins me for a Geico Sports Night. But for now, let's send it back to Matt and Max.
All right, thanks a lot, Brian Custer. Oliver Perez was the story tonight. He wins his 6th game of the year. He's 6-3. The 3rd time this season he's beaten Atlanta. After leaving the game, our Kevin Burkhardt caught up with the Mets lefty.
Oliver, you know, I don't know what it is about this Brave team, but you've pitched against them 3 times. You've allowed a total of 3 runs. What is it about this team that allows you to be so successful?
Yeah, I just trying to make pitch, you know, trying to be down the zone and trying to don't overthrow it. Just be consistent and get out the inning.
You take more pride going against them, knowing that this is the Mets' big rival, knowing how important these games are?
No, I just compete every time. You know? I just trying to do everything I can and trying to help the team.
Talk about the game, a couple key spots. In the 3rd inning, you got Diaz there, and then the 5th inning at a big spot, you got Chipper Jones. Are those both on changeups?
Yeah, you just got to be consistent there. Like throw changeup And I just trying to be down the zone because, you know, you miss the ball, they can hit hard because they have power, and, you know, that was the key for today.
You know, your last few starts, you have gone very deep into the ball game. Have you just been getting stronger? Has there been something that you've done a little bit differently to allow you to go that deep into the games?
I think the key is I change the spin. No, I don't try to overthrow it, and, you know, we do a really good job, Duca and Castro, and you know, everything is good right now.
You know, you just seem so comfortable and so confident. What has coming to the Mets done for your career?
Yeah, I think the key, you know, like you say, I feel really comfortable when I pitching, and, you know, I just have fun in the game and just enjoy it.
Throughout the years, we've seen team after team make trades that come back and they probably scratch their heads and say, wow, why did we make that trade? Do you think Omar Minaya knew what he was getting in Oliver Perez?
Well, Omar knew what kind of arm he was getting. I'm not too sure you know the makeup of the individual until he's really tested in the waters of New York, but I think Omar knew what kind of talent that he was getting in Oliver Perez. But, you know, Mets did the same thing with Nolan Ryan.
Yeah,
too.
well, yeah,
so
and that's what I mean. It
works both
happens
ways.
for every organization.
Sure, no question, because you know what the Mets think of their talent, it's not the same as the White Sox may think or the Rockies of their talent. So that's why there's trades always made in baseball, because one GM always feels that he can top the other GM.
And can't guys thrive somewhere and just falter in other places? The same guy, same body, same health, and one place doesn't work?
Without a doubt. There is no doubt in my mind that there are certain players that cannot play in this city. That's just, there's a lot of good players that don't like to play here. You have to have tough skin to play in this city. And as you go to other places, it's just like, you know, hey, it's like a day in the park here. They love playing there. So, yeah, you do. You need to have tough skin, and some cities are just not made for some players.
All right, and this one apparently is made for Oliver Perez so far this season and the end of last season. We take another break on Nissan Postgame Live. Willie Randolph comments on the Mets' latest win when we come back. The Mets and Braves will play the rubber game of this set tomorrow because the Mets shut out the Braves 3-0 tonight behind a strong performance from Oliver Perez. Willie Randolph now on his lefty, and the Mets win.
Has Oliver really learned how to use his other pitches and how to slow things down? You know, I remember in spring training talking about, you know, him maybe trying not to throw the fastball through the brick wall, but it seems like maybe his ability to use those other pitches and change speeds has helped him.
He slows down. Not tries to throw his breaking balls hard as he was early when he first came here, but, you know, he's just learning to, you know, take a little bit off every once in a while, you know, not push the pedal to the metal every time he's out there. And, you know, another great outing for him. Just, you know, a good way of, you know, getting through some tough jams. He got out, I think, the third and the fifth, some tight jams. So he's just proven to me more and more that, you know, he can dig down when he has to and just keep us in the game. He's done an excellent job. Another good game from him.
How about his, you know, ability really not to show any fear? I mean, the offenses that he shut down the last 3 times out, you know, it doesn't seem to faze him.
He has a lot of confidence in his ability. I mean, you just look at this stuff, and I think he always knew he had good stuff, and he's, you know, just kind of, you know, out there enough to just go after people, and that's the way you have to do. Be aggressive. You know, why tinker around with stuff when you can just let your stuff work for you? So he's learning that. He's done a nice job of that since he's been here. So that stuff like his, I wouldn't be afraid to throw strikes either.
How comfortable did you feel with him late in the game, Will? I mean, he was still throwing like 93 in the 7th inning.
Yeah, he seems to get stronger sometimes late in the game, but I still wanted to, you know, just watch him and not get him in a position where he started to kind of lose it. So I felt comfortable with him, but again, I mean, he's got 1 day's rest coming up next time around. But I think last time he had 108 pitches, and I definitely want to get him to 120. So it was time for him. That was an easy one.
What's your sense of Delgado after what you saw today?
What's my sense of him? That he's got a couple hits tonight, and that's good for his confidence, and he continue to do that. You know, he's going to hit. There's no doubt about that. So I said before the game that, you know, I'm not going to be looking at him game to game like we have to see how he does.
Well, I'm not talking about hits. It's just as much as you say, approach.
Well, you know, we've talked off and on about taking advantage of what they give him, and when they give you that big hole over there, it's smart to just, you know, take advantage of that. You know, he does it every once in a while. Tonight he seemed to make a conscious effort to do it. We talked a little bit about it before the game, but sometimes you have to just take little bites and just take what they give you. When they start switching around the other way, then the field opens up for you. So sometimes when you're used to having your way as a big power hitter, you kind of fall into, you know, who you are as opposed to doing what's necessary. And hopefully that's a good sign tonight that he'll continue to take advantage of the field and continue to get rolling a little bit.
Well, you think that was a big at-bat from Gomez there, where he gave you the sac fly?
Yeah, it was a good at-bat because it showed me what he did actually was he shortened the stroke and put the ball in play. He took a couple big swings early in the count. He's tough when you don't play every day, and a young kid's real excited about the opportunity, so he gets a little bit out of himself. But that was an excellent at-bat because he actually made an adjustment, which is good to see. He kind of shortened the stroke a little bit, hit a line drive to center field, and a good read by Paulie. Andrew's flying in like that. You might not take a chance there, but Paulie got back to the base real quick. Got a good start and forced him to throw the ball home. So that was a good play by Paulie too.
Well, in Perez's case, he's the guy that's responsible, or partly responsible for you guys beating the Braves 3 times. He's 3-0 against them. I mean, is he becoming? You had an idea of this before, but is he becoming a quote-unquote big game pitcher for you guys? I mean, does he kind of rise to the occasion and that type of stuff?
No, big games are playoff games, World Series games. Those are, to me, what big games are. During the season, you're always counting on pitched games that you're supposed to win. Obviously, there's a big games against them, but to me, it's not classified as a big game. But Ali is the type of pitcher that he has no fear, and he's proven that, and he likes to go out in situations where he needs to challenge himself, and the energy is up, and I hope he continues that. But just because he's won 3 games against the Braves, that to me just means that he's doing his job.
What was your impression of the job Joe Smith did tonight?
Again, another nice job by Joe coming in there and attacking the zone, keeping the ball down. Going to have some tough hitters. I have a lot of confidence in him, and because I don't use my bullpen necessarily as, 7th, 8th, or 9th, everyone's got to be ready. Feliciano was up along with him, and Aaron was right behind them. So another good job by Joe. He's done a nice job so far this year.
You impressed really by the way he's come back after the Milwaukee game when he finally allowed a couple runs and just. It's kind of hasn't phased him.
I expect that. He should. I mean, that's just a little bump. I mean, he's not going to always pitch lights out. So if he didn't come out after that, then I'd be a little concerned. So that was nothing big. I mean, to me, it's when you get knocked around in succession where I kind of see how you respond to that. But, he should be able to bounce back from one outing out of, 6 or 7, whatever it was. So, he's a pretty tough kid.
All right, Willian Delgado, what strikes you about what he said?
Well, he said take little bites and take what they give you and hit the ball the other way, and that's what he did. I had a guy in Baltimore that, you're talking about Rafael Palmeiro, would never, ever go the other way and would try to fight with him all the time, try to hit the ball the other way, and he wouldn't do it. So, sometimes players are stubborn. And Delgado, is taking what they give him, which is good. It's a good start for him.
All right, Nissan play of the game now takes place in the bottom of the 3rd. Martin Prado at the plate and the fly ball down the right. Talk about going the other way. This one going to right field, and Sean Green in foul territory, laying out and getting it done. Big play in the inning. Sean Green batted 2nd tonight, 1 for 3. In the 2nd spot in the order, also with that nice little catch there. Tomorrow, it's an SNY viewing party. Watch the Mets and Braves at the back page. Drink specials, 50-cent wings, Hawaiian Tropic Girls, and ticket giveaways. Just show up. 7:30, the back page. That's 3rd Avenue and 83rd. Tomorrow on SNY, if you're at that viewing party, you're going to see Tom Glavine and John Smoltz. Rubber game of this 3-game set. You'll see it here on SNY. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock with North Fork Bank pregame live. All right. Coming up on Geico Sports Night, more reaction from the Mets following this win. It's Chris Cotter and Brian Custer in the house. That's going to do it for us. I'm Matt Yella.
I'm Lee Mazzilli. Good night, New York.